Hey, we're live, everybody. Welcome to the Mark Bajerski YouTube channel. Let's talk. And today, this evening, wherever you are in the world, we have a very special guest. And I've got to say, from right at the get-go of all of this, that this is probably the most, I guess, controversial podcast I'll ever have done. Not because of me or Phil, but probably because of you. That's my feeling at the moment. So, welcome, Phil. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you, Mark, and great to meet you. And I've got to say, I can see Lynn there in the chat. Hello, Lynn, our mutual friend who introduced us. And yeah, I love Lynn. She's absolutely amazing.
She is. She's gorgeous. She's a diamond. She certainly is a diamond in the rough. Yeah, and she's been there for me many times, and yeah, she's just a great soul inside and out. So we're very. I think we're very fortunate to have her in our lives. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you, Lynn, for tonight's connection. It's fantastic. So Phil, I watched one of your videos because Lynn was kind enough to send it me. It was a short and it was really funny.
Oh
Really
dear.
enjoyed it.
Which one was that?
Yeah. I've got it on here. So if you actually, if you don't mind, do you mind if I play? It's only for a few seconds,
Yeah,
but I
sure,
think
sure.
it gives people an idea of not only your wit, but you know your belief system and what you teach, I guess. But we're going to figure that out later. Just let's have a look. Lynn, I know I've got two Lynns on here, so I have to be careful which Lynn I'm pressing. There she is. Right, here we go. Right, everybody, just take a listen to Phil.
But here we are in our local supermarket. It's the fruit and veg aisle. We're told to eat 5 a day. Is it healthy? In truth, this stuff has never even existed more than 200 years ago. It's all man-made, and these days sprayed with glyphosate. So this is the sort of thing that I ate. I ate my share of junk food, but I also ate mostly whole food plant stuff, whether I had a little bit of meat or not. And that landed me with leaky gut and psoriatic arthritis. Let's go around and have a look at some of the individual offenders. Broccoli and cauliflower. These are cruciferous veg, thought to be very healthy. What exactly do? They're full of goitrogens, so they are excellent superfood if you want to mess up your thyroid. So, Brussels sprouts. Now, these little buggers, probably one of the most toxic veg of all. They have 136 known human carcinogens in an organic one. 137 in a non-organic, which is what these are. And as Anthony Chaffee says, you might as well just stay home and spray the glyphosate in your mouth. You'll be well down on toxins. The only use for Brussels sprouts is to wrap up in quality street wrappers and give to trick-or-treaters to get rid of them at Halloween. The kids know. These are poisons. Mild and tender spinach, source of vitamin A. Source of vitamin A, my arse. It's a source of oxalates. If you want kidney stones, eat a load of spinach. I've been there, done the spinach smoothies, had the kidney stones. This is not a superfood unless you want serious oxalate toxicity. Bistro salad, sweet and delicate, washed and ready to eat, washed and ready to poison. Now, salad, tastes revolting, no one likes it. If you have a steak and some salad, you're going to have far less nutrients absorbed than if you ate the steak on its own, because this is a whole load of anti-nutrients, and it's not for human consumption. So potatoes, everyone eats them, right? Chips, roast potatoes, mashed potatoes, everything. Are they healthy? Are they not? They're full of carbohydrates, but they're also a nightshade, which means that they're full of glycoalkaloids. These things hurt your joints, they hurt your gut, and they're not good for you. They're also high carb, so you won't lose weight on them. Now, a lot of people then go onto a sweet potato, thinking it's more healthy. Is it? No, it isn't, because it's full of oxalates and you're back to the kidney stones. So we've been through the vegetables. We've established they're toxic. Fruit's got to be okay, though, isn't it? Grows in nature. We like to eat it in the autumn to put on a little bit of extra weight, and for mostly the benefit of the plant, because then we go poo it out somewhere else, and a tree or a bush grows. But most of us poo in toilets these days, don't we? However, fruit, no, it's not healthy. It's full of fructose and it's full of deuterium, which messes around the functioning of the mitochondria. And nowadays, as well as probably glyphosate, you got Bill Gates involved, because he's spraying it with something called a peel. And God knows what that does. It probably gives your grandkids 3 heads or something, but If you get any grandkids, then you're not infertile from eating this
Wrong with
crap in the
3 eggs?
first place. Right, we've been around the supermarket to
one.
show the stuff that I don't eat anymore, and let's look at what I do eat. Now, here we've got a sirloin steak here. We've got a ribeye steak here, nice grass-fed ones from the local farm. Unfortunately, they do cut off too much of the fat, but there we go. So this time, add some tallow, and you can sort that out. I prefer things like these, short ribs, slow cooked. It's great. Vegans quite often attack me, and they leave messages saying, I want you to post a video of you eating a corpse with no seasoning. I'll wait, they always say. Well, vegans, here we go. I'll combine this video with that, because decent meat is very nice raw. I have people that eat it, friends that eat it raw all the time. So I would say that if you want to eat it raw, that's cool. Normally I don't. Let's hack a bit off. That's sirloin. That's great. I prefer it. Seared a bit on the outside with some salt, but there's nothing wrong with that. I tell you, it tastes a hell of a lot better than a raw potato. So, when you say to me that you can't eat unseasoned meat, and to leave a video, I'll say to you, leave me a video of you digging up your root vegetables with your perfectly adapted snout, eating them raw, and swinging through the trees with your perfectly adapted prehensile tail, beating all the monkeys to the little shriveled sour fruit that's nothing like you find in the supermarket. I'll wait. If you'd like to find out more, please go to philescott.com. You can get autoimmunity consultations.
Great. Right. Well,
for regular Zoom calls.
That was rather funny, Phil, if you don't mind me saying so.
Thank you. For everybody, I mean, I can see already in the comments that they're the same old things that I got attacked with on there. I've wasted probably 3 days answering these things. It was a light-hearted video. It was really skimming the surface.
Exactly.
But, it's people have taken huge offense to it and asked all the same questions. But I do enjoy them. I'm starting a little portfolio of ridiculous answers that I've given to them and screenshotting. But some of them are quite serious and they make good points, because I was vegan. I was vegetarian for 30 odd years.
30 years.
Yeah, I wrote books on plant-based eating. I thought it was wonderful. I thought I knew everything. And then I was crippled with psoriatic arthritis. And then I had to find out how to heal myself. The last thing I ever did was ever think about a fully carnivore diet. That's the most dangerous thing ever, isn't it? As all these comments are saying, it's full of fear. It rots in the colon. It doesn't. It's none of these things. The fact that it rots in the colon, it's absolute nonsense. The only thing that rots and ferments in the colon is plant-based stuff. The meat doesn't even get to the colon. It gets so perfectly digested. But anyway, the thing is, there's so many things out there against eating meat. People are saying, oh, well, Brussels sprouts aren't going to kill you. Of course they're not. My point is that I've now got 11 years experience of being fully carnivore. And you look at the tribes and a lot of them are fully carnivore or very close. They have very long lives. They have none of our chronic diseases. And this is our natural food. I'm not militant. I think that everybody should eat what they want and stop attacking each other. Right?
Yeah, well, that's not going to happen, Phil. I'm sorry. You're not living in a world where that's going to ever happen. You're going to have to just get used to all the abuse from everybody, really. And it's funny. It's almost like football. It's like, what team are you on? Which, hang on a minute, that's not the point. The point is, let's listen to what people have to say. So, Phil, well, let's get started where I think everybody would like to start, and they would say, okay, so like I've eaten plant-based and I haven't touched meat. Now I've just listened to you. What on earth do you eat through the day and the week? Tell us a normal, honest daily meal or meals you have. Do you have one meal a day, 2, 3?
It's taken a long time to get where I am. I haven't eaten a vegetable or a plant of any sort since 2015. I'm still alive. I'm still thriving. I've reversed a host of metabolic and autoimmune issues. I've lost about 90 pounds. It's taken me a long time to get to this, but really, and the evidence does point towards it. People say, send me the studies, send me what. There is huge evidence. Like, another mutual friend of mine and Lynn's, Dr. Zofia Clements from Paleomedicina in Hungary. I mean, on diets like this, on high-fat, fully carnivore diets, they are fixing even glioblastomas. The results they have are incredible. There is only one food that gives you everything you need and nothing you don't. And that is fatty beef and lamb, or fatty meat from ruminant animals that's grass-fed and organic. There's all this thing about, it's injected with all these hormones, hormones and antibiotics and all of that. Yes, sure. And there's no group of people who want grass-fed, proper, good farming than the carnivores, because that's all we eat. All I eat is beef and lamb, really. Okay, 95%. I sometimes sneak in a bit of dairy, which is actually really dodgy, especially raw. That makes people very cross. But it's for adult animals. I will agree with the vegans on that. Sorry, it's no good for adult animals. It's for young animals. But it does mess about with the mitochondria. The growth factors in there can be very dodgy. You see, I deal with a lot of people who are very, very sick. And I know a load of people out there will go, oh, I've eaten plant-based for years. I'm absolutely fine. Yeah, I know that. But I live near a community. I got sucked into it through the spiritual thing. And
definitely.
Yeah, to just get one of the comments here, so it's all full of fear and all of that. I mean, look at nature, right? These animals get ripped to bits when they're still alive and have their innards eaten by lions and things. That's probably fear, but and the horrible conditions in slaughterhouses. But that doesn't mean to say we have to deny our heritage as facultative carnivores. Mm-hmm. We have, if an animal is dropped, a cow in the field next to other cows, it doesn't know it's going, and the other cows don't even notice. Right? That's how it should be done, quickly, because and then they go, oh, well, you're killing an animal. But the vegans who eat these crops, those crops kill billions and billions of animals. It displaces them. It kills them with pesticides in horrible agony. It chews them up in combine harvesters. And no, that food is not grown for the cattle in the CAFOs. The cattle should be back on the grazing lands. And so actually a vegan diet also pushes the animals into the CAFOs. My diet doesn't. My diet kills one animal a year, and that's it. And it doesn't rot in my colon. I got perfect digestion and elimination. As I said on Sean Baker's podcast a while ago, all we carnivores find that beautiful digestion. You can find that it's even fixing IBS, Crohn's, even bowel cancer. And I said that my turds could be on the cover of the Bristol Stool Chart Glamour calendar. They're absolutely
perfect.
One wipe and done. I want to get the missus and say, check that out. It's a crowd pleaser. I mean, seriously, I'm being silly, but
No, I totally get it. There's a lot of sense in everything that you're saying. Absolutely, 100%. The reason why I'm saying that is there's also something connected to, I believe, stress as well. And I want to ask you something, Phil. When you were in a vegan diet, were you in a perfectly happy, zero stress relationship or life?
I was in a beautiful relationship, one that I'm still in. And my missus was 20 years veggie, and she ended up with Graves' disease, now fixed on carnivore.
Okay.
But we had a lovely relationship. But was I happy and chilled? No, I was as emotional as most vegans. I was easily upset. I was depressed. I had brain fog. I ended up emaciated, and I had kidney stones from the
So my point is, there's an argument there, like I've got in my head. There's an argument to the fact that maybe the stress caused it, and I would now say that would be not true in my circumstance, because I was in a very, very traumatic relationship for 8 years. Prior to that 8 years, I was eating what's called, for me, a normal diet. My mum was Italian, my dad's Polish. I was fed with veal, I was fed with steak, I was fed with chicken, pasta, basically everything. And as I grew up, I just ate meat as well as vegetables. And when I became a healer, I was still eating meat as well. And while I was healing all that time, before the relationship. As soon as the relationship came, I was with somebody who was a full-blown vegan. And that's when I thought, out of respect, I'm not going to eat meat. And I thought to myself, I don't really want to eat, because you get in a spiritual thing. Maybe, just maybe, I might become more enlightened. Maybe, just maybe, I might connect to the spirit world more. It's been 10 years now, and I can honestly say, hand on heart, it hasn't made any difference towards my spiritual connection at all. And I would tell you the truth, it hasn't. I look back now and see, no, I was very, very attuned, even when I was eating meats as well, which I didn't eat beef so much, but I had chicken, fish. I ate quite a lot of fish. So, so within that 8 years of not eating meat at all, it soon became evident that I was getting issues with my stomach again. And whether I'm a sensitive or not, I still think it has something to do with that, yes, but I also believe it's got something to do with what I was not eating, and what I was eating. So my feeling is now, like, I don't think I've had a day in 8 years that I haven't been jumping up and down at 3 o'clock and 2 o'clock in the morning, trying to get rid of the stomach, which looks like I've just drunk a keg of beer, and the pain that comes with it. Not irritable. I used to have irritable syndrome every now and again back in the days. I used to get awful attacks. As soon as I became a healer, those attacks went. But I was still eating meat. So I was still eating everything. So what was that? Stress. I think I put it down to stress, but you might say it was eating vegetables. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I'm trying to still figure things out. But like, I wanted to share that story with you because now I'm on a protocol, and that protocol says it would be good to eat meat. It does say it on the protocol, and it tells me to eat organic chicken or organic grass-fed beef. So for the first time in 9 years, nearly 10 years, I decided to do it out of kind of desperation, because everything that I ate before, which was all vegetables, I was basically blown up. I've now lost 11 pounds in 23 days of being on this diet. And for the first time, I feel like I want to cry. For the first time in 10 years, I've had 7 whole days without a pain. And it feels like I can't explain it. The pain that I've been through for so long, and the bleeding from my rectum was so bad, I thought I was dying. Phil. Does this sound common to you?
Very common. Heard it a load of times, so many times. So has Lynn. We've all heard it in the carnivore space. The gut gets wrecked by plants. They just do. I mean, you can see from when paleomedicine used to do gut permeability tests that once you've wrecked the gut and you've got leaky gut, that it never fully heals up if there's even a small amount of plants left in the diet. There's nothing magical about meat. It doesn't heal anything. All it is our food. The rest of it is not food. It's full of anti-nutrients, fiber, which causes all the problems it's said to cure. I mean, I can't resist this little one before I want to get into the spiritual side of it, actually. But somebody's put here, spinach cooked with cream knocks down the oxalates. Same with potatoes, add butter and cream to stop the issue. You see, there's somebody who studied a bit, right? However, the oxalates are not knocked down. They're just taken out because the calcium binds to the oxalates, and that helps to prevent kidney stones and stuff. But the spinach is still toxic, and it's got nothing in there that we need, and it's not bioavailable, and you're mixing it with dairy, which adult animals are not supposed to have. So then you get potatoes, add butter and cream to stop the issue. Delicious, absolutely gorgeous. If I could eat that, I would, because the mixture of carbs and fats is what is there in all of our addictive foods. Pizza, pasta, ice cream, chocolate, all that kind of thing. You put butter on roast potatoes, it's probably the nicest thing in the world.
It is.
It doesn't occur in nature. if you think of it, you have fruit that's got some carbs in, you have animals, they have fat and protein. You don't mix them, because then it ruins your leptin signaling. You don't know when to stop eating. And it also triggers the Randall cycle. There's too much to get into here, but basically a carcinogenic process. So that's the thing. So just don't eat any of that stuff if you're healing. If you
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question,
Yeah.
Phil? Have you ever heard of women who, from a young age, not eating meat and then going through their life and just being pure vegan, and then they find out that they never get their cycles and they can't get pregnant?
Totally. And you've got to watch out going carnivore. Anybody there, here who's gone through the menopause and goes carnivore, be careful.
Why?
Take some precautions, because you see people reversing the menopause and getting pregnant in their 50s, and they're not happy about it. I mean,
wow.
In some of these carnivore tribes, the women are having babies at 70, and they live to like 120, and they're still dancing.
Like, what kind of tribes are you talking about? What tribes like?
We're talking the African tribes in the Amazon. We're talking all the way up to the north with the Inuit and that sort of thing. It's a myth that they live short lives. Sometimes they fiddle the average data, because there can be infant mortality, lack of trauma care, but they have none of our issues. And when they get onto our diet, they're sicker than us because they're not used to it. Now,
right.
if anybody wants to find out about this, go and look for somebody called Mary Ruddick. She's absolutely lovely. She actually travels around and stays with all these tribes, really, really remote ones. And she will blow up everything about their diet. She was bedridden from veganism for years. Now she's a picture of health. She's beautiful. I love Mary. She was at my carnivore conference in Spain last November. And on my YouTube channel, there's a beautiful talk with her in that conference, and also a podcast with me. But there's loads of podcasts with her. And she'll blow up all of that.
Can I ask you a question? What about for mums who have children that have gone through really bad issues, and the kids are really messed up in so many ways? I can't even pronounce some of the doctors' medical advice and what the kids have. But do you think that if those mothers fed their children meat and just meat, do you think a lot of those issues and illnesses would disappear?
I'm just shouting for my youngest son. I'll bring him on. He has been carnivore since he was weaned. He had nothing but meat till he was 5 years old. He is the healthiest, fittest, most beautiful child I know. That's down to my missus, because she's from Tanzania, so he's beautifully mixed race.
Beautiful.
He is so supple, strong, calm, funny, loving, everything. My 34-year-old son, we brought him up veggie, had a lot of issues. He ended up with an aneurysmal bone cyst in his neck, and he had to have a whole vertebrectomy. His neck is still held together with titanium to this day. My middle child, Amelia, we brought her up kind of omnivore. And she is beautiful, but you can see that there's some crowded teeth that Peter doesn't have, because among people who have sort of vegan and vegetarian pregnancies, quite often Weston Price found this when he went around the world, the fewer plants they ate, the more they were on their indigenous diets, the better the health was, the dental health.
Yes.
And you can see this. You can see this in my kids. Dr. Anthony Chaffee is probably the absolute rock star in the carnivore world now. He said to me when he was at my Spanish conference, he said, your kids and the progression is an absolute way of showing how much you've learned about how to feed your children. There's a video from about 7 years ago, carnivore kids dying of malnutrition or something. I put it on my YouTube channel. There's my two kids eating meat and talking about it. And he's still carnivore. And he is amazing. I mean, he's not fully carnivore, because I made the very bad mistake of introducing him to chocolate when he was about 5 years old. And he was immediately hooked, because that stuff is so addictive, mixture of carbs and fats. So that's it. But no, he doesn't eat vegetables, never eaten a vegetable in his life. And, you'll see when he pops up. But I don't know what he's doing at the moment, but I'll get him on in a minute. But
Brilliant.
It is amazing, really.
I tell you that.
Come on. Come and say hello. We're on live. Now, do you see how sick he looks?
He looks beautiful. Nice to meet you.
That's a child with no vegetables. No vegetables.
Amazing. And is he very happy? Does he like laugh and joke and play, or is he depressed and miserable all the time, like many children are right now?
You answer that, Peter.
I'm happy and I go out with my friends a lot.
That's beautiful. Do you notice any of your friends feel a little bit sad sometimes, and you lift them up and make them feel happy?
Yeah.
That's
in
nice.
fact,
Good
they
for
even
you.
say that. They even say that in the school report. How he's always taking care of other.
I can feel it as a good soul as well. It's a beautiful soul. Yeah. Well done. Well done. Yeah. It's lovely to meet you.
You too.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
there's the child abuse. You know, there was vegans were coming up underneath that video years ago saying, you know, you need to have your children taken away, and I get death threats and all sorts. And actually, if you look at other countries, sometimes it's been made illegal to feed the children vegan diets, and parents are going to prison for it. Parents are killing their kids with this. It's very sad.
Yeah, it is. Whatever is happening tonight, guys, whatever we're talking about, please just have an open mind, because I mean, we've spent a lot of time bringing on guests on here like Don Tallman and many other people who talk about ancient Egypt and celery being good for the bones, and to be honest, I was wholeheartedly into it and drunk the juices, and I started realizing that I used to drink the juices like crazy, and then I started realizing to myself, you know what, maybe you should just eat the fruit instead of just drinking the juice, because maybe the body isn't fit for all this juice all at once. And I found that maybe better just eating the fruit. Anyway, I'm digressing, but
it's a good point. It's a good point, because ancestrally, did we juice anything? No, we didn't. And the fruit that we had was very different from the fruit that we have these days, and only available seasonally, and not at all in the north. So we only had it seasonally, and we got some fructose. We put on a little bit of weight for the winter. We got some deuterium in, but the sun depletes deuterium, and so nature has it balanced. Nature has it totally balanced. Could I address this, because this is a beautiful comment, and I think that that this is something that you
please address.
Dawn here says, another teacher of mine who has spent time with Buddhist monks says you cannot reach true enlightenment if you're consuming flesh. Would like your thoughts on this. Well, I had a really profound awakening that stopped me doing any spiritual practices whatsoever, because I was done in 2006. And I always thought that I would be some kind of a non-dual teacher. Never did I think I would be this carnivore guy on YouTube. It's the last thing I ever thought I would be. But I have a podcast series, only 10 out there. It's an old one called Carnivore and Beyond. And I've got people on, even spiritual teachers, who find that they have even not only fixed their physical, emotional, and spiritual health with cutting plants from the diet, but even reconnected with what they felt were lost awakenings. And I think a good point in this one is that it's very disrespectful, I think, to all the indigenous tribes all over the world who eat mostly meat. Do you think they don't have their shamans? Don't you think they don't have their holy people? These people are chilled. Like Mary Ruddick says, they're smiling all the time. They're totally chilled. They don't have any mental health issues. They're probably in a state of what we would call maybe cosmic consciousness, to use the TM term, all the time, because they're so connected with nature, far more connected with nature than any vegan who's never even visited a farm, and certainly has not gone and lived out in the jungle. I remember this beautiful story of a vegan going out and staying with a tribe in South America. And they mentioned that she was a vegan. They just burst out laughing. And they said, well, there's nowhere, you can't live anywhere on the planet on just plants. You cannot do it. And she ended up realizing that they were far more spiritual and far more connected than anybody she'd ever met. And she packed in the veganism. And it was beautiful, because these people were so totally in tune with nature and so calm. And if you look, I got stuck in it. My first book I ever wrote was on Ayurvedic medicine. Now, I was stuck in the whole you can't get enlightened on meat kind of thing. And that was my only focus until you get sick enough that you're in so much desperation, you'll do anything, right?
Right.
But I wrote this, and then if you actually look in the old Ayurvedic texts, it says that meat is the most nourishing food for the body, like Amrit.
It does. My friend Ajahn eats meat, and his guru is Ayurvedic, and so is he. He's been training Ayurvedic basically 30 years, and he eats chicken and meat as well. So yeah, for sure, that is true. What you're saying.
I would say if you have to, somebody here says what foods work or not is a highly individual thing. Everybody says that. We're all different. Now, if that were true, it would make us the only species in nature it was true for. Every species in nature has an optimal diet. We're just the only ones intelligent enough to make our own food and stupid enough to eat it. And when I say make our own food, it's all the fruit and veg in the supermarket as well, because as I said in that video you played earlier on, it is just man-made. It's not been around for more than 200 years. So what foods work or don't is highly individual. Not really, but people's reactions to bad foods, depending on their redox potential for clearing plant toxins, can be different. And some people will say go to a vegan diet, they'll feel amazing. But in my experience, that's honeymoon period. Now, I would say to any vegan and vegetarian who has stood in front of me and says, I'm healthy. Now, okay, well done. You've got better redox potential that didn't break you as quickly as it broke me, even though it took 30 years. Go and get a DEXA scan of your bone density. And you tell me. I see people coming into the carnivore space, really bad bone density. I mean, some of the vegan docs, one of them recently fell over and shattered his pelvis. Another one broke his foot running up some stairs.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, the bone density is very, very bad. Now, we see beautiful results on DEXA scans of bone density coming back in. People saying, I'm not losing any weight. You find out they're just putting on muscle and bone density without even training. Right. But they're losing fat. So it's going down on the not on the scale, but it's going down on the inches.
I'm seeing it too. So, I just for everybody who's out there, my protocol now is broth. So I'm doing a lot of broth at the moment, and I'm telling you, I'm losing weight like crazy. And I realized the other day, nobody told me this, but I've never had a beer belly. I've actually, that's what shocked me most of all, guys. It's nearly flat. And like, oh, it's because you cut your diet. No, I've stopped eating the veg. I've stopped eating a lot of the veg, a lot of them. And I'm not blowing up.
There's only one type of person who attacks the carnivore diet, and that's somebody who's never tried it. Because all of the propaganda goes against it.
It does. Why do you think the propaganda? I mean, on a side note, guys, I think it might be Genesis, but in Genesis it talks about lamb. So I also, if you are religious, if you're a Catholic, if you're Orthodox, it's in, I think, Genesis 9:3. It talks about the sacrificial lamb. So even to those who are Catholic and religious, eating meat is part of what God commands. And apparently God commands the same as a plant as it does an animal. It is the same in his I think that's what he commanded to, was it Noah on his ark? I'm not sure, but when I remember back in the days, I remember being at school, at Catholic school, and I remember certain things that they said. So maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm completely wrong, but I think even religion, they talk about eating meat. So
they do, but it's been co-opted. I mean, people can look up my talk on how religion and spirituality has destroyed our diets. That's from Spain last year as well. That's on my YouTube channel. Same folder as the Mary Ruddick one and some other beautiful ones as well. But yeah, well, the Bible is still only pretty recent history. If you think about it in terms of human sort of how long we've been here. I know history's been messed about. We could get into all those things.
Yeah.
And we've been lied to about that. And you know, evolution, the evolution theory. Where's the missing link? You know, no, we are we're here and we've always eaten meat. I'm not sure how long we've been here, and I don't think anybody is. But if you look at the time when civilization started farming, not only did that ruin the health, because you can see all the modern diseases creeping in when they start eating grains and stuff. You can see that creeping in the skeletons, but it's also allowed the rise of the psychopath, because before that there was nothing. They couldn't control it. Nature would give you everything. You were hunter-gatherers. Everything was fine. Now you've got these psychopaths who own land, get armies together to defend the land, attack people who try and come in, and then everything went wrong, not just in diet with the introduction of farming. We have a book out called The Red Pill Food Revolution. And if anybody wants to contact me, I'll send them a free PDF. I'm not selling anything on here. But if you look into that, we go into the full history of how we have been controlled through ruling elites, psychopaths, religious leaders, spiritual cults, and controlled with plant-based slave diets for centuries. Now, if anybody's out there going, oh, we've woken up to all the COVID nonsense, we've woken up to all the everything else, all the political rubbish, all of that, chemtrails, I don't know, whatever anybody's into. So many people have woken up to all of that, and yet they're vegan because they go, oh, we need compassion. Now, look what the elites are pushing. The same people who pushed all that are trying to come down hard on organic, grass-fed beef farmers, trying to push them out of existence.
Yeah, they're burning them down.
Yeah. And what are they pushing? Plant-based diets. And then we have to eat the bugs, you know, and we have to have lab-grown meat and things like that. That's just cell cultures. It's not lab-grown meat at all. So, you know, I think if you look at what's actually going on, look at that agenda of the eugenicists, the depopulation people who are out there. And it's not a conspiracy theory. They made it very open, you know, their intentions. These are the people who are pushing plant-based, because it's like India, you know, the capital of autoimmunity and heart disease and diabetes in the world. And they're largely vegetarian.
Yeah.
Now, my friend, Dr. Ankur Verma, who is a carnivore doctor in India, working in Delhi. He's coming to speak at my next Spanish event, but he's amazing. And as Dr. Anthony Chaffee says, he's doing great work from behind enemy lines. Just that, you know, it's the spiritual and religious dogma there to keep them vegetarian. Very difficult, but he's getting people, you know, people in their 30s are diabetic, 20s. They're having heart attacks, all sorts. And these people are purely vegetarian. And, you know, people say some feel, there's a comment here, some feel better to be vegan. Yes, initially, because it's basically a fast and it can clear up some things. But better still, if you want to fast, just do a dry fast. That'll blow anything up. No food, no water. Then go carnivore, you'll be fine. So it's basically a fast, but then they go on with it too long. And then the problems come in down the line. The honeymoon period is one of the most dangerous things about veganism, where you feel better for a bit. Now, I've lived in this transcendental meditation community, if you like. I don't really have anything to do with them anymore, but they're all here. I see them as the years go by. I've been here since 1986. It was all fun and games then. We were all eating our rice and dal. We were all farting all day. We thought it was fine. Yeah. But now, as they hit I have lost so many of my friends.
I'm sure you have, pal.
To cancer, autoimmunity, everything that meat is supposed to cause. Yeah. And now they're mostly in their 60s, 70s. They're a bit older than me. Well, I'm 64 now, but most of them are maybe 10 years older or around the same age to 10, 15 years older. What an epidemic. There is so much cancer among this community. And they also, there's a lot of neurological issues as well. I just went to a funeral of a friend of mine from this community who even understood everything. He understood, he followed me, followed Jack Cruz. I'd meet up with him, give him advice, but just couldn't keep to it. And that often happens, you know, because we're so used to other stuff, addicted to certain things. Anyway, he died from complications from Parkinson's disease. And I went there and I saw my old friends. Some of them had come from across the country who didn't live here anymore. I was horrified. There were at least 5 with tremendous tremors. you know, and the guy who actually runs the Ayurveda center here, he can hardly even hold a shopping bag. I ran into him in the street. He doesn't really recognize you anymore. And his shopping is thrashing about. The tremors are so bad. He's obviously got some kind of Parkinson's. And this is so common when you don't nourish the dural sheath of the nerves with proper animal fats. This is what keeps them healthy. This is what nourishes them. You don't have any of these issues in the tribes who are properly nourished. None. And it breaks my heart. You know, I get accused of attacking vegans. Not at all. I just want them to wake up that their diet is not healthy, it's not compassionate, and one day it's going to bite them.
Yeah, and then normally it's a little bit too late. And then I think like most people, only until it bites them do they wake up. And that's with anything. It's like with the jabs, everybody said it was fantastic. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? And then they get sick and they're like, oh shit. And then they're the biggest advocates for anti-jabs. So I think
sadly, in spiritual communities, people who believe in the spiritual side of veganism and vegetarianism, quite often they don't connect and they just will not. There's so much cognitive dissonance. I mean,
I don't know about that. I don't know. I've got to say that within these, like for me, within these 9 years of not eating meat, funnily enough, I decided not to do my work anymore. So I can't really comment. But what I can say is that when I do online healing sessions for people who, literally, 50, 60 people say they feel a lot better and they felt the connection. So I can honestly say that because I was on a vegan diet, that the gift of healing that anybody has, it didn't work. I can't say that. But what I can say is it's funny that I decided not to do the work anymore, one-to-ones. I just decided not to do it. And now I'm here and I'm feeling healthier and stronger than I've ever been in 10 years. Now I'm saying I want to do healings, and already people are, commenting that it was a beautiful session. So I don't know. Look, at the end of the day, I've spent 10 years listening to many people, and I think the information was great, fantastic. When I look back on, especially the Egyptian times, they were using radishes, cabbages. They were using green peas. There were certain things that when I researched it a while ago, that they were actually eating all of these things, but they were also eating meat as well. And they were eating fish.
But if you're healthy, you see that you've got this business about the blue zones, which is absolute nonsense. The whole thing is nonsense. The research was done badly. The book written by Dan Buettner was criminally biased. He misrepresented their diets. Most of these blue zones, like Okinawa, they all grew up eating a whole load of pork. And then in the war, when they lost their pigs and they started eating plant-based, they pretended that they were eating plant-based. And now they're not a blue zone anymore because they're, and then funny thing is, I think about the blue zones as well, is that they've also discovered that some of these centenarians, super centenarians, were long dead. They're just pension scams by the relatives.
Wow.
And so the whole thing is blown up. It's just a money-making scam by the Seventh-day Adventists. And this is where I think people who are vegetarian and they don't know where this all came from. I've got to get into this because it's really important. This whole spiritual thing happens in the East, where it comes through Hinduism and sort of, what do you call it? Sort of co-opted Ayurveda and stuff like that. But when you think what happened in the West, well, there was a young girl called Ellen G. White in the 1800s, and she was probably a bit barking mad. She had a load of visions, she said, and decided we should all be on a plant-based diet, Garden of Eden diet, because nothing is as evil as sexual desire. You know, that's another thing, right? Depopulation, like, sex is bad, all of that, you know, no, none of that, break up the family, all that nonsense. So Garden of Eden diet, well, it does work because it can derange the hormones, and it makes you less potent, it makes you less fertile. And they had a young kid that they brought in to help with all their typesetting and leaflets and things. They kind of adopted him, basically, I think. And he grew up to have a load of cereal companies in the Midwest. His name was Harvey Kellogg.
Yes, I heard about him.
Absolutely mad as a box of frogs. This is somebody who was promoting no anesthetic circumcisions for boys and girls.
Yeah.
Carbolic acid on girls' genitals to stop them fiddling with themselves. And so now we've got Harvey Kellogg's anti-masturbation cornflakes, and this is what they call the Sunshine Breakfast. And this through the Seventh-day Adventists, who now control a lot of the dietary organizations in the States. Second, I think, owning schools and universities, hospitals and things like that to the Catholic Church. And so all the dietary information in the States comes through this lens. And that's where it came from, vegetarians. That's
well, here somebody's just said in
visions of a lunatic girl in the 1800s.
Just look, this guy is lying. Why is it I don't understand why people are saying people are lying. Why would, first of all, I mean,
it's easier.
Any
it's
kind
easier.
of no. If you've even got a slightest bit of intuition, what you believe, I can feel you believe. This isn't a way. When somebody lies, they're doing it for a reason. This guy isn't selling anything. It might be saying he's doing a conference. Yeah, probably is living. But where's the lie? This is his truth. I mean, why can't people just stop for a minute and listen without having to accuse people of lying? I'm sorry, Phil. I just don't understand. The last thing I feel as if you're lying about anything, mate. And I'm shocked that people are saying it.
Well, it's easier to think that I'm lying, because if what I'm saying is true, it blows up their whole world. The thing is, I would like to say to people who think that I'm lying, I have to say, with my heart, like, look into my eyes, right? Yeah. I was in such awful, awful pain. I would never, ever risk knowingly bringing anybody else into that pain. I never want anybody to feel that. I would never risk them doing that. Even if it was making me a ton of money. I could make a lot of money selling supplements, doing this and that in this diet world. I know about it. I could have a very knowledgeable vegan channel. They make more money than a carnivore channel. I know.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm saying.
I know more about veganism than most vegans. So why am I lying? What is my motivation? Nothing. Nothing at all. I'd never risk that at all.
I think your motivation is truth and what your experience was and is. That's it. It's pretty much that simple. Whether you agree is a different thing. You can disagree all you want. There's certain things that I'm like, well, I'm not so sure about that, but I'm listening, guys. I'm listening and I'm taking notice, and I'm big enough to be open to listening. And it doesn't mean that I'm gullible or I'm evil because we're talking about killing animals. And that's something that is a really big thing, I think. I think that is the moral aspect to this is probably the biggest thing because of how we've all been brought up. The sacrificing of because the thought of sacrificing anything to anybody who has a good conscience, like, I love my doggy. I love my, I love animals. You know what, mate? I just want to say one thing. Just hang on. Don't say anything. Just let me bring something over. 2 seconds. This is a great way to explain it. I wrote a book, Phil. I've wrote a few books, but this one is called The Ancient Art of Flower Reading, right? I know it's got nothing to do with this, but it has, if you just bear with me.
No, Mark, you're just a shill. You're lying. It's all about money for you, I can tell.
Yeah, exactly, Mark. Right, okay, yeah, exactly. How to underline. Closing notes. Let me just put my glasses on and read it. I know, just bear with me a minute, because this might be relevant to the moral aspect of of everything to what we're talking about. Okay, so I'm shit reader, by the way. I've got dyslexia, but let me try and read it. And it should be simple because I don't do big words. So for many years, I had mixed thoughts and emotions with regards to how we should handle and respect all plants, flowers, and trees in this world. While receiving gifts of flowers, I would always feel a level of appreciation and joy and the sense of life and vitality they would bring to my home. I also felt a kind of sadness, wondering if it would be best to allow them to live and breathe in their natural environment. Over time and through my deepening connection with nature and Mother Earth, I started to simply flow with what arises. Now, whenever I receive a flower, I embrace this gift with a heart of appreciation for the loving intention this gift carries. And I found peace in this way of understanding. So basically, I used to think to myself, Phil, we should just leave the flowers. Just fucking leave the flowers alone. Let them grow. Because I believe that every living thing has some kind of life, some kind of life force. And then the way I kind of handled it was, well, hang on a minute. A tree has apples, and you'll never convince me of not eating an apple, because when I was a kid and I used to pull an apple from a tree and bite into it, I've got to say, Phil, no meat ever made me feel so energized than eating an apple off an apple tree after jumping into somebody's garden and nicking their apple and eating it.
Yeah, so, why not? Off the tree in season, beautiful.
And the life force that I felt within that is incredible. So my point being, I wrote that book because you can even go from an animal to a tree to a plant, and that moral aspect is still there. Even with me, it's still there with me. So where does it end? Half of you guys, you're lying, you're this and that, but yet you probably see a spider and maybe kill it or stamp on an ant and never even think about it. Not even a thought about an ant. You won't even think about it. Why not? It's living. It has a life, but you've stood on it, but it didn't matter. So my thought is, honestly, I think most people are hypocrites when it comes to everything in life. And when we realize that we're all hypocrites, because at the end of the day, we do things and shit, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But yeah, you do it every day. You do things every day. So I've got to try and bridge this understanding of, I don't want to hurt an animal. And yet my body, this past 4 weeks, has never been as healthy, and I haven't had a stomach ache or any pains in the past 14 days. And if that could happen with fruit and vegetables, I would eat them for the rest of my life. And I've tried for 10 years, and I was dying. I was literally dying. But this also was to do with a relationship I was in as well. So I'm still kind of a little bit confused to both of them. But
it's both. Of course it is. Of course it's both. But if you, everything is important. Some people probably think that I'm just talking about meat, but I come from that.
Well, you are talking about meat. No.
Yeah, but I mean, or rather that's what I talk about. But if I go on some consult with something, the meat thing is pretty easy to deal with. But then you start looking into emotional stuff, spiritual stuff, past trauma. Are they getting grounded? Are they getting enough sunlight? All of these things count. It's not just the meat. But the problem is that there's so many myths built up about eating meat. So say I get some vegan come to me or something. Let's go, right, let's get the sun in. Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Let's get grounding, go hug some trees. Wonderful. Let's look at the emotional stuff. This is great. Turn your screens off at night. Get rid of the Wi-Fi. Get some red lights in there. Get the sun in your eyes in the morning. This is brilliant. Have a steak. Fuck off.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
That's it. So everything else is much more easy for people to explain. There's one. Can I just deal with this one because I love this? Joey Matesic or something. Carnivores kill their own flesh and eat it raw. They don't cook it and add spices to it. Lol. Okay, this is a very common one. If you look on my YouTube channel, I've got loads of videos about carnivore and spirituality, ahimsa, non-violence, all of this kind of thing. And we've got one on there, which is called Comedy Science Appreciation Corner, I think, where with one of the co-authors of the Red Pill Revolution, Food Revolution book and Red Pill Revolution book, we really go into this because the vegans often put up this particular meme with teeth. You know, this is vegan, this is blah, blah, blah. So, you know, I would say, first of all, look at a gorilla, a proper herbivore, and it's got big fangs. Why? Now, if you want to eat like an actual herbivore, you're going to need 40 pounds of dry vegetation a day, like a gorilla, and your own poo for the B12. That's what a gorilla eats. You try that. Now, then you look at something like the hagfish, 100% carnivore, no teeth whatsoever. So let's get rid of the teeth thing. Now, I've never had problems chewing a steak, never at all. And if you look at the carnivore tribes, actually, here's another one. They have no, like the Inuit, you dig up old skulls, there's not even a cavity. There's nothing. They've lost no teeth unless they've had them smashed out. No decay. I see cavities healing up on carnivore in my groups, as long as they're not right through to the pulp and the tooth is ruined. So we have, Joey, we've had tools for and weapons for millennia. We have cooked meat. We've cooked it over the fire. Although I have friends who eat it completely raw and they're fine, no parasites, no issues, nothing like that. We add spices to it. Look, I don't add spices to it. I put some salt on and that's it. It's delicious.
Do you eat fish?
Yeah, good wild caught fish. Beautiful. Yeah, really good stuff. Is it?
Do you eat raw fish?
I have done, but I'm not particularly a fan of it. I don't eat much fish because I don't really like it. The main nutrients are in ruminant animals. You know, what's
missing out of the diet? What's missing out of the diet if you just completely eat meat? Is there anything missing?
No. And the first thing that the vegans will say, or, well, not only vegans, but dietitians, regular people, what about your vitamin C? And I love getting into this one.
Go on.
Okay, vitamin C. Now, if you eat just meat, you're getting no vitamin C, you're going to die of scurvy. If you eat a diet that would give you scurvy, it will probably get you sitting within 6 months maximum. I've been 11 years. What's happened? Okay, vitamin C competes for the same pathway as carbohydrates. If you eat no carbohydrates, there's plenty of vitamin C in meat, particularly if you eat liver. You will never get scurvy. No carnivore in the West has got scurvy. None of the Inuit have scurvy. The old ship's captains, you remember they used to get scurvy on the boats, you know, and they used to get the explorers, they get scurvy because they were eating like ship's biscuits, they were called. It was just basically carbohydrates and sometimes some dried meat. There's no vitamin C in that. Plus they're combining it with carbohydrates. So they're going to have a problem. They're going to get scurvy. And now they think, oh, you have to cure it with limes or lemons or something to get the vitamin C. Yeah, that can kind of work. But they all knew that if you got onto the local diet, if you started eating like the Inuit, it not only prevented scurvy, it cured scurvy. Fresh meat cures scurvy. So there is nothing that we can get from plants that we can't get from really good quality meat, apart from autoimmune diseases.
What about like today I'm drinking Moroccan mint. Bad?
No, look, you see, the thing is, it's not bad. It's just if somebody comes to me with absolute screaming rheumatoid arthritis,
I see what you're saying.
Listen, beef, lamb, salt and water. That's it, right? Our ancestors lived to beautiful, ripe old ages eating other things than that. Nuts and berries in the autumn, this and that. It doesn't mean to say we need them. The fatty beef and lamb is the quickest way to give you everything you need, nothing you don't. It will heal up the gut. You can see this in the clinical trials of paleomedicina and just in the symptom reversal among millions of people who are doing this. That is the quickest way. If only I had known You know, when I came out of that horrendous psoriatic arthritis flare in 2010, 2011, went vegan, lost all my muscle mass, emaciated, kidney stones, didn't fix the arthritis. Then I started eating fatty meat, and it really started to pick up. I wrote a book called Arthritis, the Best Thing That Ever Happened to Me in about 2014. When I've been keto about 4 years, 3-4 years.
Keto?
Yeah, well, yeah, you know, just a ketogenic diet, which means that you're not running on any carbohydrates. But that's what I thought was the issue. But I still had a few healthy veg with my meat, because of course you need that veg. You absolutely need it, don't you?
They say.
Yeah. Anyway, I did that, and then I just noticed that on the days where I really could not be bothered to put that roast veg in the oven, you know, I just felt so much better on just meat. And this was way before all the information was out there. And then I found certain little groups of people who'd been doing it for decades, and they were so healthy. So it gave me the confidence to do it. And I just
do you know the Atkins diet?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Well, people go, oh, it's just the Atkins diet. No, people were doing this millennia before Atkins. Then they go, well, Atkins died from heart disease and he was fat. No, he didn't. He fell over on an icy pavement, smashed his head. Anyway, Atkins, it's great for losing weight. I mean, I tried it back in the day. I'd try Atkins, you know, obviously not going into meat eating because that's so evil. But I would do things like go for cheese omelets and salads instead of my rice and dal. Yeah. I lost a bunch of weight. I felt a hell of a lot better, but I had not got to the point where I was completely trashed yet. And so I used to go, oh my God, I feel amazing. My joints feel better. I'm running around, but I need to get back onto my healthy veg and rice. And then it would all go downhill again because I didn't believe it was sustainable. Now, Atkins was right with cutting out the carbohydrates in that you lose weight, you'll fix diabetes like that. But he was really not specifying animal fats above everything. There was too much dairy in it. I think he didn't, as far as I remember, he didn't particularly mind about seed oils, which are probably the most dangerous thing ever. You can drink seed oils all day, you'll lose a ton of weight, but you'll die.
Yeah, what happened to my father-in-law, my first father-in-law, he was so excited because he lost so much weight on the Atkins diet. And my brother said to him at the time, just be a bit careful of what you're doing. And he didn't. He carried on and he had a heart attack within about 5 weeks of doing it. Maybe it was just a coincidence.
No, it's not a coincidence, but it's impossible to have a heart attack from scratch, from healthy, however you eat for 5 weeks. Right? Some people go.
That's what. It's interesting how it just happened, though. Right.
Yeah. Some people. Well, no, it's actually easy to see how it happened. Because the inflammation dies down where you might have some kind of this business of fat getting into the arteries, it doesn't, right? Cholesterol, it doesn't work like that. The only time that cholesterol and fat would clog up your arteries is if you inject it after you're dead and already cold enough for it to be solid, right? And then if you're dead, it's the least of your problems. So that doesn't work. What happens in the arteries is that when you've eaten a load of carbohydrates, sugars, processed foods, stuff like that, the endothelium there, the glycocalyx, it becomes inflamed and it gets sort of, you will get wounds in it basically. And the cholesterol goes in, which is made in the liver. It's not anything that comes from diet. It goes in to patch up the damage. It's the paramedic at the car crash. It's not the cause of the crash. Now, if you then go carnivore on that, or keto, there is a possibility that will start to heal up and some of the calcifications might break off and you might get a stroke or a heart attack. That doesn't mean, it's very, very rare, but that doesn't mean to say that it's the fault of that diet. It's the 50 years previously or 40 years that you
I totally get it. I totally get that. For sure it is. It's just like I say, sometimes coincidence just comes along and there you go. That's it. That's it. Yeah, it doesn't really work like that. But I just wanted to mention that just to see what you had to say about it. Very interesting. So can I ask you again?
One little tiny quick thing on that, Mark. We see people, and I've seen it in scans myself, you know, because people go, oh, well, enjoy your heart disease. Well, I used to have heart issues as well as liver and kidney issues and things like that. Now, I've seen calcifications disappear on scans. Luckily, none of them broke off in a lump and gave me a stroke. But I've seen it in other people. People who've been on long-term carnivore diets, they go and they get a CAC scan, coronary artery calcification scan. they're returning 0 scores. This is not what causes heart disease. Heart disease came about with the advent of seed oils and low fat eating. That's what the problem
makes sense. That absolutely makes sense. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think like now I'm noticing and I'm feeling there's a lot of upset people, and it's making me realize how, even by food standard, how programmed we actually are, and how much it's like a religious belief, veganism. And also, you know, at the end of the day, there's people that I've listened to for many years, Dr. Morse. One of the things Dr. Morse talks about is you mentioned it. You talked about animals, and he says, you know, do we look like a lion? Do we look like a chicken? Do we look like a fish? What are we closest to? A chimpanzee? Yeah, probably. What do chimpanzees eat? Mainly fruit and, you know, leaf. That's his argument to it all. That's
have you ever seen videos of chimpanzees ripping monkeys to bits and eating them?
That's exactly what I was gonna. That's exactly what I was gonna say. And I was gonna, you know, type into one of his like, hang on, mate. Every now and again, they'll be on a hunt for a little monkey and they'll rip it to shreds, and it's awful to watch, but it seems to be nature by that. And to be honest, I'm still, the verdict's out with me. At the end of the day, I am better now. I am much better. And I know the only reason why is the only two reasons, because I'm not in a toxic relationship, and 2, I am now not eating as much fruits and vegetables because that's in my diet. Stop eating all of these fruits, stop taking smoothies, stop eating chocolate, stop it. Literally, this book is stop eating everything, nearly, and this is what you should be eating now. And it's a very kind of strict diet, but in that diet is fresh fish, only a few, meat, all meats basically, but not pork. All meats, but not pork. So, like I said, I started doing the broth, and I did a video, and I'm like, guys, I'm drinking broth, and I want to puke, and I literally want to puke, right? I just don't like it, but I did it because I want to heal, Phil. I just want to feel better, and I've had 10 years of literally jumping up and down on a night trying to get rid of the gas that I've just eaten. And what is it this night? What have you eaten today? What is it now? What have you just eaten? It's like, no, all I've done is eaten, you know. Anyway, it is what it is. There were times where, and this is true, where like I can't eat lentils unless they were cooked properly. If they're cooked properly, it didn't give me gas.
Well, it's different. It's like somebody put in the comments here, oh, well, you've got to cook spinach to get rid of the oxalates. Cooking gets rid of soaking, and cooking gets rid of certain things like lectins, like out of red kidney beans, that will probably kill you if you eat them raw. But oxalates, no, you don't get rid of them. You do not get rid of them by cooking. It doesn't make any difference at all.
You certainly sound like you've done a lot of studying, and through your experience of what you've been through, guys, it's got to hold some sort of weight.
There's nothing in the comments here. I know I'm really passionate about it, but there's nothing in the comments here. There's nothing that anybody could throw at me on this subject that's
probably heard. Why a lot of people have gone.
Yeah, that I haven't heard 100 times before.
That's why a lot of people have gone and unsubscribed. I can tell you now. I'll have had tons of people unsubscribe because this goes against everything that I used to believe in when, you know, John Tolman was in my life, and then I got to find out what he was like, and then like time to let's say goodbye, and then figure out what's going on, what's happening, what is life about. But I'm still, like, I don't know about you. I was born in Huddersfield, right, Phil? And my first wife, we moved to a farm. And on that farm, we used to eat meat, of course. We were on a farm. And every time a calf was killed, Shirley would say, "We've just killed a calf. Would you like some meat?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then but I'd always feel a little sad. And to be honest, if the world was just me in it, and there was a bunch of cows, and there was vegetables, and it was me having to kill that cow, I'm not so sure I could do it, Phil. Let me just tell you this, right? I brought up, right, with my partner when we were together. We got some eggs, right? We got some eggs, and we put them in an incubator, and there was 5 of them, and 3 of them survived. 2 cocks and 1 hen. And we put them in the coop, and I got to love them. We called them. They had their own names. I absolutely loved them, Phil. And one day, we used to eat the eggs. And one day, I'm driving past the orchard where the coop is, and all my chickens had been killed by an animal from Morocco. It's a long, like a cat with a big tail, pointy nose, and basically what it does, it just rips them to shreds and cuts the head off and drinks the blood. And they were all, some of them, I had 6 altogether because I bought some more, and they were all dead. And they were all like, not all dead. 2 of them were still alive, and they were in so much pain. And Phil, it still haunts me to this day. I had to kill one of them. Now, what kind of hypocrite am I when I'm eating chicken? I feel the pain of what I grew up to love as eggs, and now I'm eating chicken, and that was like my chickens, and I've killed them, and I don't have the same feeling. That could be classed as being a hypocrite. So I'm still toying with all of these feelings and thoughts.
Can I go through that?
Sure.
Okay. I would have no problem killing a cow as long as I knew how to do it quickly, if that was what was happening. Now, that sounds mercenary, but it's not. Let me explain. I have great respect for that cow. I mean, if I was killing that cow and bringing it back for my family, it would be with tremendous thanks and respect. I don't think that there's anything wrong with death. What I think there's something wrong with is unnecessary suffering. And the thing that makes me, people immediately go, I say I'm carnivore.
You mean like halal, mate? You mean like halal?
Halal. Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's kind of a bit weird maybe how they kill them and bleed them out, but I'm not really up on that too much. But if they say to me, oh, well, look at the horrendous conditions in factory farming, absolutely disgraceful. I mean, chickens, what they do to chickens, my God. I mean, they leave the light on so that it ruins their whole hormonal signaling. So they lay around the clock, they cut their beaks and feet off. They do. This is disgusting. And this is what they think that I eat, right? I don't eat that. And I would be outside there demonstrating with the vegans to get rid of this. What we need to understand is what we really, really are adapted to eat, and then do it in the most compassionate, most humane way that preserves ecosystems and that causes no suffering to the animals. You want happy animals out on the grazing land, not taken to abattoirs, no suffering, bang, and they're down in a very, very quick way. And that is the most compassionate way to eat on the planet. You mentioned about plants before. Not only are all these animals being destroyed for crops, for vegan crops. Okay, it's not just vegans. Obviously, everybody eats them who eats toast. And
exactly, yeah, that's that.
So it's not. I'm not blaming the vegans for that, but they're not. Their diet will contribute to that, obviously. So, the vegan sort of idea of this is all down to death. Why would we? It's a fear of death. Why would we be frightened of death?
No, I'm not frightened of death.
Exactly. Here's a really interesting one, I think, that I came to a while ago. We are all one, right? We are eternal beings, and we are all connected. And we have a responsibility also for compassion to the bodies that we've been entrusted with for this life. What about compassion for your own body? I have more compassion for humans, like, say, for example, my son. I have great compassion for cows. I have great compassion for all animals, but I have more compassion for my son. And I brought up my eldest son and pretty much destroyed him. I have compassion more for my son, right, than I do for the cow. So let's have a cow that had a happy life, died quickly, no suffering, and feed that to my son. That's perfect. That's nature. That's beautiful. In fact, it's even better than nature, because in nature they have horrendous deaths. So, 70% of the creatures on Earth are carnivorous. Did God or nature or whatever you want to call it make a mistake? Did he?
Yeah.
No.
No. It's a great point. It's a great point. Yeah, it's a great point. I've got to say though, I remember going to see Babaji Gurinder Singh, and a lady stood up and said, "Babaji, I feel as if I should start eating beef again." And he just looked at her and said, "I've never seen a calf feel happy being pulled away by its mother." That's all he said. And I'm like, fucking hell. And there is something in that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Why would you? If it's all done according to nature, you don't have to do stuff like that. So that's immediately jumping to the horrendous ways that humans have decided to treat animals.
Yeah.
Not
Yes.
the fact that we're not carnivores. Also, getting into the guru thing. I mean, beautiful. I mean, okay, a lot of them were probably put in place by the CIA and were not awakened at all. But presuming that they are awakened and that they have the best of intentions and not just fiddling with their disciples and extorting money from people, imagine that they're all completely woken up. I mean, look at Ramana Maharshi, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, he was completely twisted and doubled over with his diet.
Yeah, it was.
He was, and then he got cancer in the arm, and then he died. Now, what
He
happened?
did.
Oh, his follower's always taking on all the stress from us. No, he's not. He ate rice and dal all his life, right? And it destroyed him.
Well, you should know, because you ate rice and dal for how many years?
Yeah, 30 odd years.
And what were your symptoms, by the way?
Oh God, everything. You want me to go through everything I ended up with? I mean, I had digestive issues immediately, but then of course it starts, often a lot of these horrendous arthritic conditions start in the sacroiliacs. So you'll get sciatica, lower back pain, stuff like that. I'd live at chiropractors and osteopaths, don't need them anymore. So even though apparently on x-ray, my sacroiliac joints are pretty eroded, but no pain whatsoever because there's no inflammation in there anymore. I've lost a knee and a wrist to this by delaying too long.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, basically. I mean, I used to write for bodybuilding mags. I'd do heavy squats. I used to sit in lotus 3 hours a day.
Well, maybe really because of that though. Maybe it was because of that though.
No,
because
not at all. Absolutely
really?
not. No. And now this knee, this left knee that used to be my most supple knee, it bends, my leg bends about 90 degrees and won't completely straighten. And that is from the time of just letting it tick over. I mean, look at the movement I have in the wrist, right?
Wow.
There's a normal wrist. There's one. I didn't listen to the symptoms. That was the first thing that happened, like early 90s.
What happened? Tell us. What was
just the inflammation got in there? It's the body clearing plant toxins out of the joints, out of the synovial membrane in the joints. You know, rheumatoid and psoriatic arthritis is not even a bone condition. It's the
inflammation.
Inflammation of the synovial membrane. Yeah, it's the body doing exactly what it's supposed to do, but we're putting toxins in, and then the medical profession tries to shut down that inflammation, which is the last thing you need to do. That's like if you take your car to the garage with the oil warning light on, and he smashes it with a hammer and says, "Right, that's 50 quid." You know, that's what the medical profession does. You don't need to shut down inflammation. You need to stop the gut being leaky by cutting plants out of the diet. Then the toxins don't go through. So I've lost those two joints. I got it out of 30 odd joints with no damage.
Wow.
And then there's other huge complications with our subtleties, let's say, where different emotions will send or stresses will send different blocks to different parts of the body, right? You must know all about this. These beautiful books like the Louise Hay ones, You Can Heal Your Life, The Secret Language of Your Body by Inner Seagull. That's the Bible of finding out why somebody has arthritis in a knee but not an elbow, or vice versa. You know, I mean, this wrist, anybody who's had rheumatoid arthritis, they know that if I did that, I'd be screaming in pain, right? It's damaged. there's no longer any pain in there. But because I didn't know what I was doing, and I was still eating plants and thought, oh, I just got a sore wrist, it carried on for decades. So that's the kind of damage you can get. I can still play drums. I don't know how exactly I do it, because I've got most of the movement back that way, but this way it's, you know, it's locked. So that's the kind of damage you can end up with if you don't listen to the whispers before they become shouts. And I'm a, you know, living example of that, where, you know, I used to have beautiful big quads. I'd have to buy jeans too big for my waist to get my quads in. Now I've got like a bit of string, a lump and a bit of string for a left leg, because, you know, I can't really train it like that anymore. And that's the kind of thing that I don't want people to go through. You know, don't make the wrong turns I did. If I could go back to myself in 2010 when it really kicked off, I would say, listen, mate, go carnivore, fully carnivore, no dairy, no chicken, no pork, no eggs, beef, lamb, salt and water.
So carnivore isn't chicken.
Let me get through
that. Carnivore isn't chicken.
I'll explain that afterwards.
Okay.
None of that, right? Just go beef, lamb, salt and water. That's it. And put 10 grand into Bitcoin and only take $1 million a year out, because you were about to yesterday, you idiot, and thought it was a scam. But anyway, so the chicken, let's look at the chicken, right? You're right about pork. If you can get really good pork, like Mangalitsa pork in, you know, countries where they feed them proper sort of turnips, let them snuffle around for truffles in the forest, let them run wild. It's pretty good meat. Not as good as ruminant meat, but it's pretty good. Commercial pork, not good. They're fed crap. You know, we are what we eats.
Well, I think most people understand that about pork.
Yeah. And now chicken is the same, because even if it's, oh, this is free range, it's corn fed. Chickens are not supposed to eat corn. They're little dinosaurs. They'll eat mice. They'll rip mice to bits. They'll
yeah, it's true. It's true. They do. Exactly. They eat any little creatures. You're right.
That's what they're supposed to eat. Worms, things like that. They'll eat the old grain. But if you give them a choice between some even roast chicken, you give them some roast chicken.
No, it's true.
And then put some grains. They'll go for the chicken, right?
They will. Yeah, I know this.
They will. So, but the thing is, it's not. So it's inflammatory. It's like walking corn. If somebody's got serious rheumatoid arthritis, people who come to me and say, I've been 6 months carnivore, I've had some great results, but I haven't really got that. I'll go, right, pork, chicken, dairy, eggs, one of them, some of them, cut them out, heal the gut. You know, for somebody healthy, chicken's great food. But if your gut is a bit leaky, it's
no, you're right. You're right. It makes like, that's kind of sounding like everything that, no, it sounds right. That sounds right. Yeah. If you've got, like, what we're talking about here now, and especially with me, is that I've got severe leaky gut, like probably you had. Yeah. And I'm sorry, but I have to agree with you. I do have to agree with that point. So that's kind of like where I am right now. Can I just pop in with this? This thing's just come into my head, which I think is really important, that's coming out these days. Now, if somebody's got autoimmunity, they call it autoimmunity. They say, you go to the doctor and say your body's attacking itself, right? The body's not that stupid. It'll never do that. So don't be ridiculous, because they just get taught that. So they can say, there's no cure for this. You need our drugs. Okay. Right. So let's get rid of the drug peddlers for a start. They're really killing people. They're not curing any arthritis, and they're blowing up people's livers, and they're causing absolute misery. Okay. We can all agree on that. Yeah. Then I think we can all agree on that. Then the next step is they say, right, people cotton onto this business of molecular mimicry. So there's leaky gut, there's molecules going through like glutens. They kind of resemble parts of certain tissues in our body, and so our body attacks those tissues. It gets confused. That's the next one. I don't mind if people think that, because it's the same fix the leaky gut. However, this is not the case, because I did in my talk in Spain, I was on about that. There's no such thing as autoimmunity. I just really felt it. And then I thought, there was Sophia Clements there was Anthony Chaffee, all these great doctors. I thought, I'm going to get bottled off for this. And then Anthony got up and did his talk, and he agreed with the same thing, but then he explained it. Mm-hmm. And he said, what's happening is that once the body goes through, once the body, the gut heals and the toxins stop going through, there's still some inflammation because the body's clearing it out. You can't fix 50 years of damage in 2 weeks. Absolutely. That's what's happening to me now. Yeah. So sure. It takes a while.
and there will be some symptoms, some inflammation, this and that. Sometimes it can get worse if there's an oxalate dump.
Yeah, it does get worse.
Yeah,
it
yeah,
does.
yeah. The Herxheimer effect, we know about that. And then then once the inflammation dies down and there's no longer any symptoms, there are still the antibodies against all those things. Now, if it was molecular mimicry and the body was confused, it would carry on attacking those tissues, but it doesn't. Now, that was the key for me. There is no such thing as autoimmunity. It's all a complete scam. There is no such thing as bad inflammation. You just have to ride it out. If you shut it down, you're stopping the body clearing the toxins, and it's going to be worse later on. You're kicking the can down the road. Sorry, guys, suck it up. No painkillers, no plants, no nothing. You know, you've just got to ride out that inflammation. But when it's gone, it's gone. When you've healed it, it's healed. And that's beautiful.
But then again, when it's healed and you go back to your original, then you're just you're repeating the same thing again, right?
Yeah. People say, well, yeah, because people say, oh, well, it hasn't healed. It's just covered up the symptoms. No, it hasn't. I mean, if you sort of have lead poisoning and then you get rid of the lead pipes in your house, have you covered up and you were sick and then you recover? Mm-hmm. Should you then be able to go and live in another house with lead piping? Come on, guys. It's what caused the problem in the first place. The miracle is that the body put up with it for so long.
Yeah, but let's also remember that we all had jabs as well when we were children, and that actually caused a lot of stuff as well.
Cesarean section ruins the gut microbiome when you're born.
I can imagine.
You know, any little issues that Peter's had, my youngest, who you met earlier on, were because we were conned into a cesarean section. And so his gut wasn't seeded. It took a while for him when he was weaned. Well, even before he was weaned, he had certain little bits of eczema and stuff. And that's gone now. But when he sometimes, I say he's 100% carnivore, but yes, he was. But sometimes when we sent him to school with a packed lunch, it would be some meat, some like burger patties or something that we'd made, and a few little bits of peeled apple. Like he never really ate them, but it was just to stop the dinner ladies calling the police. Right?
Exactly.
But sometimes he'd have like a couple of bites. And he would come back with weeping eczema on his cheeks that quick from a little bit of apple. So when the gut got leaky, but it's the fiber. It's like, I remember other people who brought their kids up like this. They say that, you know, they eat chocolate. I'm not a fan of chocolate with all the seed oils. There's oxalates in chocolate. There's sugar. There's all kinds of crap. But they have less reaction to the chocolate quite often than they would do to fruit, because the gut is so irritated and so unbalanced that the fiber is the worst thing. The fiber in it, which everybody thinks is essential. It's not. There's not a slightest need for fiber in the human diet. It causes all the problems it's said to cure. It rips your guts to bits, and it's not necessary.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's a friend of mine who goes into houses when asked, and basically, please change my life, help me, I'm sick, I'm not well. And so he goes into the house and he goes into the fridge and throws everything out. And then they say, oh, forget it, please leave. And I think 99% of us would probably do the same. If somebody came in like you and said, throw all that shit out because I know it doesn't help and this is what you need to eat, the chances of that happening realistically I would say is maybe 1%, 5%. But it sounds like Lynn is saying that this kind of understanding seems to be growing because of actual health, and people can see it and feel it. So I can honestly say, guys, I have been sick for 10 years, literally. I like on a night, my stomach's been bloated nearly all day long. Anybody who knows me will say, oh, you've got a bit of a belly. I'm like, really? You know, okay. But I haven't got a belly anymore. It's flat. It's literally flat.
I stuff my face whenever I want to. Got no belly, totally flat stomach. Yeah, it doesn't happen.
But you stuff your face with meat, with three,
exactly.
Three things.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
That's what happens. Can I get this? This is really important, actually, I think, because this is going to anger people, even who are on a carnivore diet. Fresh eggs from your own chicken and raw milk cheese is totally different to what you buy. Yeah, I mean, I think eggs are great. The whites can be very inflammatory. The yolks are good once your gut's healed. But think of it again. Look at it ancestrally. We didn't farm chickens. Eggs were seasonal if we ever got them. Very small part of our diet. Not that I think there's anything wrong, you know, compared to all plant foods, much better, but not that ideal. I come from the perspective where, from very sick people, right? And so there's an expression for bipolar people where they say that we're like everybody else, only more so. And that's the same if you've had autoimmunity and a leaky gut. You can tell like that whether something's good for you or not. Okay, now Packwoman here has said raw, you know, eggs from your own chicken and raw milk cheese is totally different to what you buy. Yes, and I'll tell you what the problem is with this. And people get more angry with this than they do pretty much about veganism, because so many people end up really healthy when they come from a regular diet to a raw dairy-based diet, and they have a lot of that, right? Okay, so they're going to feel good. And a lot of people say, well, pasteurized dairy is terrible because I'm lactose intolerant and I can't digest it. Okay, well, that's because the pasteurization process has destroyed the lactase that helps you digest the lactose. And so it will give you an initial reaction. Now, if it's whole unpasteurized milk or you know, cheeses or whatever, then you don't get that initial reaction. Oh, I feel so good on it. But if you actually compare people's health, I think, to people who go on these raw milk diets and things like that, compare them to people on a standard diet, there's going to be a huge difference, great benefits. As Anthony Chafee said, you take them and then you compare it to somebody on beef, lamb, salt and water, and then we'll see what's happening. Nobody will ever do a study like that. But here's the thing. I was walking around, I was at the Public Health Collaboration conference thing about 3 years ago. And Zofia was there from Paleomedicina. I was walking around with her in the Peak District, and she happened to mention to me, you know, we got onto the subject of dairy. And you know, Paleomedicina say they put it up with grains and seed oils. Now, these are the people who are reversing real serious things. They put dairy up with grains and seed oils as that evil. Not even a molecule a month to heal when you've got something very serious. No dairy, nothing. Yes, you'll find some people have healed on it. Okay, you know, it's the exception that proves the rule. That's fine. My mother healed her breast cancer on a full carnivore diet with some dairy. You can see it on my YouTube channel, her tumor completely disappearing. But anyway, when she was 93, actually. But so now raw milk, that then, if you don't have the pasteurization process, which also knocks out some of the growth factors, which are designed for growing a small animal into a large animal. That's what they're designed for.
Yeah, for sure.
If you eat those growth factors regularly when you're an adult, you cause unusual cell replication. Read cancer. This might not happen for 10 or 20 years down the line. And it might not happen to some people who have raw dairy, but that potential is there because it causes unusual cell replication. So, in that case, long term, raw dairy can be worse. Oh, you're mad, everybody says. No, listen to my interview. You can look it up on YouTube. It's called Why All Dairy Hurts with Zofia. And we go really deep into that. Ultimate autoimmunity interview. She's fantastic. She'll really come up with the science of this. Now, okay, look, there's loads of conflicting information out there. What I do, there's one thing for me. I always try and look at it through the ancestral lens. Let's look and see what actually happened. Right, as you said before, we didn't juice stuff. We didn't have dairy. You can imagine the Native American Indians. They're destroyed now. They're alcoholic. They're diabetic. They destroyed them.
Yeah.
In their heyday, they're eating buffalo. 90%. They're 7 foot tall. They're going around, you know, killing these buffalo with these beautiful hunts that they did. Did they milk them? Did they fuck? They got trampled, right? They did not have dairy. Even the Maasai have dairy now because they've been forced off their hunting lands and to be pastoralists. And so they're, you know, drinking blood and milk and meat. That's what they eat, with a little bit of honey when they can find it, which is very rare. So they're very healthy. But they do have certain niggles that maybe the Inuit don't have, who don't have any dairy. So it's all a matter of piecing together little bits of information. you know, from various sources, and then using it for how you want. Now, dairy is so addictive because, again, it's a mixture of carbs and fats, which never happens in nature past weaning. And so it is addictive. If I start on cheese, I don't stop. It's so nice, right? But I occasionally, when I'm not in a healing phase, if I'm okay, I will have it. But I don't think it's beneficial, and I don't think it's a healing food. But
it's like sweets or a packet of crisps to people.
Yeah. But just, you know, for people don't think dairy's a health food, and don't think the raw dairy is any better long term. It's not.
No,
it's designed for adults. But if you like it, fill your boots. I'm not here to criticize anybody.
And goat's milk, goat's cheese.
It's fantastic for baby goats.
Yeah, it's the same as cows. It's fantastic for the calves. Yeah, I get it. So what you're saying,
the A1, A2 dairy thing. Yeah, A1 is much more inflammatory. You'll notice more initial reactions. A2 is great, you know, because you don't get so many initial reactions. The dairy question is very complicated. Go watch the interview with Sophia.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't really know I've got anything else to say, because I think you've covered nearly everything that I wanted to say. I wrote a few notes down here, but it's almost like you covered just about everything that I wanted to talk to you about. And all I've got to say really is thank you so much for sharing your experience and your truth. And Lynn says that you're on the up at the moment, so hopefully people will get to at least listen instead of unsubscribe, which is absolute, for me, absolute nonsense. If you can't have a debate and a discussion, we can never grow and heal in life. That's the whole point. Just shutting people down, I think is wrong. And I bet you get it quite a lot. I think if in any industry, I think yours is probably the most challenging, because veganism is so popular, so big now, and so connected to the spiritual world. That's probably why I distance myself from the spiritual world and just I'm on my own now. I don't listen to anybody else. I just listen to what I feel is right from day to day and go with how I feel and what I should do in my life, just by learning through my own experience, not other people so much. But then again, I have to say, I've really enjoyed this chat, Phil. I have really enjoyed it. It's really made me think, and that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing.
I think it's beautiful when people have a real open mind, because one of my favorite memes was in the middle of the beginning of the COVID thing, where everybody's arguing, you're a granny killer, you're a sheeple, you're this, you're that. And it was going crazy.
Yeah.
And there was this beautiful meme of a guy being loaded into an ambulance on a stretcher. And it said, man in critical condition after hearing slightly differing viewpoints.
Exactly.
I thought that was beautiful.
Totally. I remember that. And
Mark, can I do two quick things here? Because two great comments have come up here. Jethro, do you filter or treat your water, Phil? Well, I don't drink any tap water, of course. We're mostly lazy, so we buy glass bottled spring water. If I wasn't lazy, I have a distiller. Now, distiller. I actually drank distilled water for about 5 months, stripped all the zinc out of my body, and ended up losing my sense of taste. I've learned a lot of these things the hard way. It's a great chelator, but you need to remineralize it. So I've gone back to thinking actually distilled is fine as long as you remineralize it, particularly if you're on a vegan diet, because it'll strip all the nutrients out straight away.
Can I ask you something? Do you believe, or have you ever heard of, after you've taken that particular water that you've distilled and put it out into the sun, it actually somehow miraculously brings back minerals into the water? Is there any proof to that?
Please look into Sarah Pugh. If anyone's in England, come to my event. Dr. Sarah Pugh, Sarapugh. She's utterly brilliant. She's hilarious. She's incredibly naughty. One of the biggest brains on the planet, into all the quantum stuff and structured water. Go listen to her stuff. Yeah, I've looked at all sides of this, and yes, definitely. But this is a real big one that comes up, which Annabelle here has said, what's your opinion on blood types? Right? Because, I've got an A blood group, so I'm not adapted to meat. Okay. Now, there's a book. It was, what's his name? Dadamo. I've forgotten his first name. but he wrote this book called The Blood Type Diet. I was conned by it. I thought, oh, wow, absolutely. Also with the Ayurvedic body type diet and thinking it's just nonsense. So you've got the blood type diet. Now, I went with that. Luckily, I was an O type, so I didn't have any fear of meat.
What are you? Oh, what?
I'm O negative, I think. Am I? Or O positive?
So if you are O negative, how would I know that you have problems with your stomach?
I don't know. It's something to do with dodgy bloodlines, isn't it?
Yeah. So
Rhesus negative thing. But
yeah. So no, my point being is that blood doesn't lie, as my new doctor, holistic doctor, said. And he said, I can guarantee you if you are an O. And I said, how would you know that? He says, because blood doesn't lie. And what you're saying to me is, I guarantee you'll be an O. And he was absolutely right.
Yeah. Cool.
So blood doesn't lie.
No, but this thing, it doesn't relate to diet, because animals have varying blood types. You know, is there a lion who sits there and goes, I think I'll pass up on that antelope and have a quinoa salad because...
Do you think that do you actually think that we are anything to do with animals? I have an issue with like people saying that we're even close to animals. I don't even think we are. I think we're not.
But I'm rounding up this point. I've got a big kind of speech on blood type diets because it drives me mad. So D'Adamo put all this nonsense in a book, and I've done so many polls and seen discussions about it on all the carnivore groups of blood type diets. I've got 20,000 on my carnivore group, and there are bigger ones, and I've seen this time and again. People of all blood types, of all races, ethnicities, anything, are having unbelievable results by cutting all the plants out of their diet. It's not about meat, it's about cutting all the plants. That's the magic, it's not meat. So, and some of them very cross with this D'Adamo dude for misleading them for so long and getting them into this blood type thing. I like Sean Baker's one. If your blood's red, eat meat. That's it. You know.
Right.
But the thing with the animals, maybe no, I don't think we're animals, mate. I don't at all.
No.
But the point is that if there was something to do with blood types that ruled the diet, there would be differing diets among a different species, and that doesn't really happen. And
right. No, my point was the doctor says he looks at blood every day, all day long, and he can tell what's wrong with you by your blood type. So there is something in that.
Oh, maybe in another area, but I believe that every blood type completely benefits from a fully carnivore diet.
Okay, that I get. That I understand what you're saying now.
Yeah.
Now I get it.
Absolutely.
Interesting. Okay, so no matter what in life, if you've got any autoimmune system, if you've got arthritis, if you've got cancer, if you've got anything, you would recommend, in your humble opinion, to cut out everything and just stick with the 4 things you said: water, salt, beef, and
lamb, salt, and water.
Lamb,
salt. But anything you can get really good ruminant animal meat. If you've got diabetes or something, I mean, that's a low-hanging fruit. It's a piece of piss. You can get rid of that in a couple of months. Eating dairy, chicken, pork, bacon, whatever you want, you'll get rid of diabetes. That's easy. That's just too much,
Imagine telling that to people. Imagine people with diabetes now.
It's coming out. It's coming out. There's the Unwins, Dr. David and Jen Unwin. They live down the road from me. David's becoming pretty world famous at the moment. He was just on Diary of a CEO. They're fixing all their diabetic patients down there, getting them off metformin and everything. It's beautiful. He's speaking also at my event, both of them actually, the English one and the Spanish one. But really, I would say to everybody, look, don't believe me. I understand that the vegans won't do it, but if you eat anything else, you try it. You go beef, lamb, salt, and water only for 30 days if you're pretty healthy, 90 days if you've got something difficult to reverse, and be prepared that the first 30 days you might have some issues, fat adaptation, electrolyte issues, you need to take a lot of salt and water, things like that. But it's things you can get over. Then you tell me if it's not.
So, could I ask you, like, if somebody was to do that, and they were going to take that. Do you think it's important to have somebody by their side to be on the phone? Like, would it be a smart move? Like, if you have an issue, it's good to be able to go to somebody and say, look, I've got this issue. This is absolutely as it should be. This is just purging. This is the cleansing, the detox. Like my doctor said to me, he's not a doctor, but he said to me, Mark, he says, it hurts when it comes in and it's going to hurt when it comes out. I'm like, okay, I get it. I get it. I get it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's really good to have a support, to have a group. If anybody wants that, join up my Substack. You know, okay, I'll do a bit of plugging now, but if somebody wants an actual consult, if they're very sick, yes, I do consults. Just philescott.com. You can find out all the events, my online courses, stuff like that. I never remember, you know, people say I'm a grifter. I just get so passionate about this stuff, and I never even remember to mention this shit. But
everybody's a grifter if they're trying to help people. It seems. I know, and that is because we're ending up more in a world of evil, and evil is attacking anything that is truthful and healing. So whatever, I don't give a shit about that anymore. I'm too old for it. But I
do a weekly on Sunday evenings, 6 o'clock UK time. I do a weekly Zoom call for, you know, giving support like that and advice, helping people through. I think it's very useful for people to see people on this journey who are maybe 2 months down the line, 6 months down the line, rather than some twat like me who's like 11 years down the line. And, you know, sometimes it's, oh, I'll never get to that. It's not realistic. But to see people as they're going through the healing and they come up from the next week and go, wow, my knee's gone down quite a bit, or my gut's so much better than last week, you know, to see that healing journey as it unfolds is beautiful.
And it is only on a personal level. You can't put that to somebody listening to you now who would understand unless they started experiencing it. And this is what I know about life. So there's no point even trying to say anything. You know, if it happens, it happens, and good luck to you, and I'm happy for you. If not, keep going. Let's just, like, I've done 10 years of it. And it, honestly, I've never healed. I've never felt as healed as I am now on this broth at the moment. So this is the first time I've introduced it in 10 years into my life, and it wasn't easy, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to start to listen to my body.
Yeah.
And I started to listen to it. And for the first time, I swear on my life, I've never wake up feeling healthy, go to bed feeling healthy, having so much energy through the day. Like, I mean, after doing videos before, I was exhausted. Like, am I getting old? No, you're not getting old, Mark. Maybe it's your diet.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe it's your diet.
We've always put it down to just sort of wear and tear and getting old.
Yeah.
60, 70, 80, middle age. That's it. There's one thing here I've got to say. Among our cats, some like more vegetables, even though they all eat meat. I've got to say, I'm begging you, do not feed cats plant foods, even if they eat them. Cats are absolute obligate carnivores. We have a cat here, and I fed him nothing but raw meat, and he's had no jabs. He hasn't had his bollocks cut off. He's a completely different shape to the other cats in the street. He goes out and takes their heads off. You know, he's out fucking and fighting all night, and he's not that friendly. I mean, every now and again, if he wants some food, but he's a proper wild cat. He's amazing. If you give him food that doesn't like, even within the different types of meat, he'll sometimes just look at you and hiss and go out the cat flap. He's a hell of a character. He's not, you know, if you want a cat that's docile and on your lap, then, you know, get its gonads taken out and get it jabbed up and feed it some kibble, and it'll be fat and it'll sit on your lap and purr. But that's not a proper cat. I mean, I see cats and dogs that have been harmed by people giving them kibble, giving them vegetables, stuff like that, and then they go raw feeding. Look at some of the raw feeding groups on Facebook and stuff. You can see like tumors on dogs' faces just falling off when
listen, I fed my two dogs. I used to give them whatever I ate, but I also give them biscuits, and I always went for the most beautiful brands with the gold and silver, and then they both ended up with cancer and died. And I'm like, nah, I know what the fuck's going on here. Yeah. And so, but it's taken their pain and their suffering to understand that.
Raw food, and even cooked food for cat. Cooked food for cats is disastrous. Dogs will put up with it a bit, but cats, you know, these commercial things where you get these tins of cat food, oh, it's all meat. No, it's cooked.
It's not meat. It's not meat.
Just give them raw meat. That's all they need.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And they don't need fat. If you give cats too much fat, it's different from us. They can make energy out of protein. We can't.
Mm-hmm.
We are not carnivores. We're fativores. We need a high fat carnivore diet. You know, that's the secret of it. If you're not having enough fats and you're not having any carbs, you end up with rabbit starvation. Humans can't live on lean meat. It's fat, but cats can. You give them too much fat, they'll shit all over your house. They'll get the runs. But you need to give them lean meat, and you need to give them sometimes heart, because it's very important for them to have taurine. If they're not eating whole animals, because usually they'll be eating whole rodents, right?
Right.
So you need to kind of give them different parts of animals to give them different nutrition.
I tell you what, this world now of pet foods and the pet industry, it's $1 trillion industry.
Yeah.
And what you're saying makes complete sense, and it's such a con. And it's pretty much like you've been talking about tonight. I'm like, there might be some truth in all of this, and I will ponder on it. I shall certainly ponder on it. Have we been fooled? And I just, you know, certainly the pet industry is being fooled. And if you don't believe me, go and take them for a checkup and see how much that fucking costs you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Just keep feeding them.
Same thing as us, that all this sort of ridiculous studies out there that are financed by big pharma and big food tell us all the wrong things to eat. And then we get caught in a pharmaceutical thing, and it's a revolving door. And it's the same with pets as well. Oh, feed them this beautiful kibble. It's got this in it, and it's got this balance of vegetables.
It's all bollocks.
A friend of mine, Deborah Rubenfeld, and she's very expert with dogs, and she's also a carnivore herself and feeds her dogs raw. And there's this one woman online who goes on about, she's got this group, and it's sort of about how to feed your dogs. And Deborah's so funny, always goes in there and trolls her, because she's saying that there was this one post of what's the ideal amount of dandelions to feed your dog. And
wow.
I'm going to start swearing now. I mean, it's fucking ridiculous. If you know, how many dandelions does your dog like? Look, you've mashed it up in something else, so it's going to eat it. Tell you what, when the dandelions are out, you get your dog out into the back garden, you throw a steak out there and see how many dandelions it eats, right?
No, absolutely
none.
Yeah.
Absolutely none.
But on truth, I've got a friend who used to look after dogs, like a dog farm. And on that farm, there were herbs and plants and all sorts. Some of the dogs definitely every now and again went to eat some of them. They could smell and they would eat them. Some flowers, and of course, what do cats do? They eat grass when they want to throw up.
I see my cat nibbling on it, even though he has raw meat. He'll nibble on it very occasionally, and sometimes he doesn't even get any in his mouth. But the thing is, these animals don't have any dogma. They don't have, years of misinformation. And so they're not clouded by it. They are properly listening to their bodies, right?
But they don't have choices, though, do they? That's the problem. They don't really have a choice.
But if they go out into those into that environment, nature, and something nibbles on a dandelion once, or a little bit of grass for cats.
Yeah, it doesn't mean to change the world, change the whole understanding of dogs. I get that. I think that's where we are. Do you know what I think? I've come to understand that everybody's trying to find something that somebody else doesn't know. And I think that there's so much need for appreciation, ego, fame, that I've noticed people are just almost saying anything now these days, just for that sake. And like the next superfood. I'm like, it's just, when does it ever end? There's always, like, every week there's a new superfood. I'm like, what the drives me insane.
Meat is a superfood. There's a great book called Toxic Superfoods by Sally Norton. She's been on my podcast. She's probably the world expert on oxalates. And she pulls to bits all the superfoods. It's beautiful. It's like she was really badly damaged by oxalates, which is why she ended up really studying it. This is how most of us come to it.
I think Lynn went through the same thing, no? Because Lynn, I used to be, you know, I really like eating vegan food. I eat like, you know, my partner's vegan, so I eat everything that she makes, of course. But I did go out every now and again and just feel I need to eat some fish, but I always felt guilty. I always felt guilt. Like for the first time in my life, now I'm single, I don't have any guilt. It's gone. And it's so refreshing not to have that guilt. And it's basically it's respect for your partner, but nah, not no more. I'm not ever gonna fall down that again. I'm gonna listen to my body, and if my body is dying or in pain and suffering, I'm gonna do something about it. And I would do the same for my child, whether I was vegan or not. I'm like, I used to feed my little new doggy, who's no longer with me, but meat. I don't care whether you're vegan or not. The dog should eat meat.
You want proper animal abuse. It's vegans feeding cats and things, you know, vegetarian cat food.
Well, I'm holding my hand up because I had to boil broccoli, I had to boil vegetables, and make sure I added all of that in, so my little Lily had a balanced diet.
a balanced diet. I love saying a balanced diet is a steak in each hand. You know, what do you want to balance the diet with? Everything you need and nothing you don't in meat, with a load of other toxins, or everything in moderation, or, you know, these awful expressions drives me mad. Everything in moderation. What? How much cocaine? How much mercury? You know, what is it exactly? Is moderation?
It's a good point.
It's crazy. There's a good one here. Somebody said about mussels, cockles, and whelks. Absolutely fine. Good stuff.
What's that?
Oysters, shellfish, prawns, stuff like that. Yeah, no bother. Good stuff. Not as the main part.
Yeah, but you don't eat. But you don't eat that. You're saying it's okay.
Yeah, I'll eat it. I'll eat it now and again. Very, very now and again. But the 95% is beef, lamb, salt, and water. But every now and again, if you listen to your body, I'll go, actually, it's an oyster day, or it's a liver day, or something like that.
That is something. Now you haven't said that. This is the first time you've said it, and this is important. These things are important.
Yeah, it's not dogmatic. After a while, I've got a video out there called "Is Eating Only Meat Boring?" and it's about your tastes really change and they get more subtle. And you know, I have days where I think it's definitely beef day. I really want a steak. I don't actually eat that much steak. It's more cheaper cuts done slower. Or it's definitely a lamb day. I need some lamb chops. That was yesterday, you know, and I ate some prawns yesterday as well. Now, what I would do today, I really think it's a liver day, which doesn't come up very often, but I really want some liver. And that has certain nutrients in that my body tells me that I need. And so I'll do that. But fatty meat, you see, it's not dogmatic. I think at the beginning, you need some guidance and a bit of a plan. But after a while, when the addictions go away to all those foods that I could never do without, you know, when those addictions go away, then you can listen to your body more and it'll tell you what
it's a good point. I think the worst thing for most people is the fact that they don't like change and they don't want you to tell them what they can't have. And like, what you mean? I can't eat this anymore. I can't eat apples. I can't eat, you know, vegetables. And like, it's like, you realize you're programmed. You realize
I never say to anybody, you can't do anything. Do exactly what you like.
Exactly.
All I say is just understand what's going on here and look into it. Don't believe me. Look into it. Put it through the ancestral lens. Look at how many amazing doctors are coming across to this. Look at the useless anecdotes, which are now in their millions, far outnumbering any diet studies done, you know, on people healing on this. Just go and look at it and make up your own mind. And if you're very sick, it's a bloody good idea to try it, you know. And there's all these things I can answer. Somebody's come up here.
Do you know? Let me tell you something before you say anything. The worst thing I noticed, like I can sit with anybody and they can eat whatever they want. It doesn't bother me at all. There was a point where I was at somebody's house, and she'd made some food and there was some meat in it. And I'm like, I'm vegan, but she'd really gone out of her way to make this food. So I ate it. It's fine. I have no problem with that. It's like, so I ate it. But what I dislike now, what's really put me off the spiritual community totally, is that so many of them push this idea of being super pure and clean and free from meat. And I fucking met one person who's on the internet who's famous for being a vegan, and I thought he was going to get up and punch me. in Ubud because he was eating chicken. I'm like, two-faced twat.
Oh, there's a lot of cheating goes on, and then eventually,
I'm telling you guys,
eventually the health collapses. If you look up vegan fail leaderboard, it's one of the co-authors of the Red Pill Revolution book, Ben Hunt, put this together, and it's only influencers with over 100,000 who are probably, up to the millions, who are probably making a living out of these channels, who eventually made that predictable video. I'm no longer vegan. My health has collapsed. It's always the same thing, gut issues, this and that. But he's kept a score of them. There's hundreds of them. Hundreds of them out there failing.
Well, hey, listen, I might be joining. Who knows? But then again, my issue was more about my relationship. So in that relationship, my partner was vegan, and I wanted to respect that. And I would never, ever eat anything other than vegan when I was with her. But when I was on my own, I would, like, today I'm going to have some fish, and I'd feel guilty. I'd feel really guilty, right? That's the brainwashing. That's the power of a vegan. I've never been vegan. I've been, I guess, pescatarian. But now it's like, I'm changing. I am changing, and I'm changing for good reason, because I have had 10 years of hell of stomach. I've had what is now, I realize, is leaky gut. That's what it is, and it's not easy to heal. And now it's healing.
It's actually, it is pretty easy to heal. It heals up. Yeah.
How quickly?
It heals up in about 3 weeks, but that doesn't mean to say that symptoms will have gone. If you do everything perfectly right and you have absolutely no plant food, it'll heal up in about 3 weeks to like 6 weeks. But that doesn't mean to say all the symptoms will have gone.
I've noticed something. Yesterday I had the broth, and I had some vegetables, and like felt a little bit dodgy. And I thought, I stopped having the vegetables, but maybe 5 or 6 days ago. And then I realized, you know what? There's still something not right. And then I cut all of it out, and I just done the broth. I know you probably don't believe in the broth, but it's the closest thing to
what
meat.
Broth is it? What broth is it?
It's either beef broth, or chicken broth.
Are you making it yourself?
Or fish broth. I'm making it myself. I buy it organic. I slowly cook it on here for about an hour, very slowly, and then leave it, and then drink the broth. And it's really, I've done fish.
We get the bones. Get bones with as much marrow and connective tissue as possible. Beef bones.
I've done all of that.
With some Celtic sea salt. We do it for 3 days in a slow cooker.
Okay.
And it's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, brilliant.
Well, I don't know, but what little I know about this, and what I'm doing is I'm just trying it. it's just a test, and all I can say is that I'm healing for the first time in 10 years. Beautiful. So I don't care what anybody wants to say about that. And I guess it's a bit like, I'm turning Christian.
Yeah, I know.
It feels like it. I'm turning Christian, guys. No, I'm just healing my body, guys. That's what I'm doing.
Exactly. There's a good question here from Katie. Says, Phil, what do you recommend if you have issues with histamine intolerance? Right. Histamine intolerance is really interesting. The whole histamine thing, I remember when I used to have hay fever, I mean, really bad every year. It was just horrendous. I was absolutely incapacitated during hay fever season. I have to actually look to see if other people are sneezing now to even know that it's hay fever season. Totally gone. But the histamine intolerance is a slightly different thing. If you have histamine intolerance from food, again, it's a gut issue. You need to rebalance the gut. And what you do is don't do aged meats, don't do broths, because they're high in histamines. I don't have a problem with histamine intolerance, but if you do, just very new, fresh, unaged meat until the histamine intolerance passes and the gut's healed, and then you will have no problem with broths and aged meats and things like that again.
Do you know what, guys? I think you know, if you're interested in what Phil's talked about, you should get in touch with him and join his group and listen to him on a Sunday. I think that's if you're suffering, and you think, you know what, I've exhausted all avenues with trying to eat healthy plant-based whole food diet and it hasn't worked. Maybe if it feels right, you could give it a try. Who knows? And I'm not advocating, you know, anything other than I just want you to feel better, guys. That's all. I just want you to feel better.
That's all we want. That's all we want.
Nothing
if you're not
else.
ready for it, we all have our journey. I think one of my biggest lessons in life and the way I grew up probably the most ever was being that sick. Sometimes it's a real blessing being through that because it teaches you so much, not only about diet and all that kind of thing, but it teaches you about your own emotions, your own stresses, your own past traumas, all kinds of things it can teach you about. That's why I called that book Arthritis the Best Thing That Ever Happened to Me. And it's mostly, you know, the first third, my struggle with the medical community, the second third about finding out about all of this. And the third part of it is just the whole spiritual side of it and stuff.
Yeah. And I think it's a personal journey, Phil, and no two people, in my opinion, are gonna understand it the same. I think every journey is different because of what issue you got in your body. Just like, I guess, energy and the trauma that we all go through in life, it's all different for all of us. We suffer in different ways in our bodies, and you know what? If you're healthy and you're fine, like my mate Paul Dyson, fucking eats anything, and he's never been sick, and he's in his first time he's ever been sick in his life. He got pneumonia a few months ago and he's pulled through and he's back on his feet again, and he just eats shit, and he's like got one of those, I don't know what it is, he's just got one of them super bodies.
Well, yes and no. I mean, I have my best friend, you know, all the way from school. I mean, if you think of Patrick Swayze, but even better looking and always ripped, he ate crap. He took shitloads of drugs and drank, and he was always ripped and muscly. He looked amazing. He's the most hilarious, wonderful guy ever. I love him. Yeah. And then suddenly ALS, that is the worst diagnosis ever, Lou Gehrig's disease, you know, and then he ended up, last time I saw him, he died a couple of Christmases ago when he just got to 60. And I saw him, luckily. Something told me I needed to go see him. And his brain was still there. We had a great rant about all the COVID shit, and he was bang on and he was totally there, but he was a shell. He weighed about 6 stone and he was in a motorized wheelchair and he couldn't move his hands anymore.
Sorry.
It's basically the same thing that, what's his name, Stephen Hawking had, you know, and then that killed him. And he was just so healthy up till that bang. And then also I've talked about the local community of the TM meditators here. And there was one guy, another lovely friend of mine. And I thought, he's one guy, maybe this is working for. He was healthy, he was fit, he looked great, he's good looking, up and down mountains, you know, all the time. He loved hiking. I thought, this guy's actually healthier than all the rest of them. 3 months later, he was dead from pancreatic cancer.
Wow.
And he died on the same day as one other of my vegetarian friends who died from brain cancer. And they died both on the same day. And this is from a community of about 300 people. So, you know, watch out if you're on plant-based diets, please. I don't like to fearmonger, but actually I'd say go get a bone density scan, go and look into all the beautiful healing of people who have got very sick on plant-based diets and come off them. You know, we're not being nasty. We're not attacking anybody. We love you. Of God's sake, you know, we're all
no, I've got like, I brought you on. I've had people on my show for many years. I've had women who've said, you know, they found out they got a brain tumor, and then all they went on into they stopped eating meats and everything, and they just went on to a raw diet, and they found that the tumor just stopped growing, and she started healing. So everybody's different, Phil.
Yeah, you can. It's the old Gerson therapy thing. You know, I see so many people and they go, I healed on Gerson and I healed my cancer. But generally it comes back real bad quite some time after, like 5-year mark. It was better when the Gerson therapy included mixed up organs in those juices. It works because it's basically a fast. Doesn't work for 95% of the people. You don't hear about them. Well, I do. because
no, you do. Like I hear, because I'm a healer, and I've got multiple friends who got cancer in places where you just can't operate, so they need to somehow get rid of it, and they've tried everything, every holistic approach they could, and I mean everything, to the point where they had to go down the medical industry, which we know is poison but kills everything. Doesn't just kill
exactly.
the cancer, it kills everything. So no big surprise there. But then what happens afterwards, it can be a very, very bad deterioration, or you can actually I've got friends who have got very strong even after it. So there are some people.
Yes. You can
the body is a powerful healing tool as well.
Totally. But you see, there's a wrong focus on cancer. They're focused on the lumps. Lumps aren't the problem. It's the process that the body's containing and encapsulating various toxins within that.
And causes the pain to the body
cancer is a healing process. It's not a disease. And then when the body is allowed to detox that, then great. But everybody else is focused on getting rid of these lumps and leaving the process going. That's the problem.
Cut, burn, laser.
Cut, burn, poison. That's it. Look, can I do some quick fire? There's one here that really is interesting. I think I've upset somebody. All people are not the same, just like all our cats are not the same. One of the cats was a broccoli fanatic. Well, I've got to say that, I was also a pizza fanatic. I was also a ganja fanatic. And I was an LSD fanatic. And I've been fanatical about pretty much loads of things that if I hadn't been introduced to them, it wouldn't have happened. I mean, I think if you put broccoli out in the wild, there's no wild cat that would go near it. They wouldn't even recognize it as food. So, our domesticated cats end up with the same weird sort of addictions as we do. So I think that's
a good point. That is a good point, Phil. It is a good point. We do drop the broccoli. We do while cutting it. But would they go and eat it in the wild? Yeah, it's all good points. Yeah. Very good points.
Do you know broccoli is too toxic even for itself?
Yeah, I've heard this.
It's when you bite into it that two chemicals combine, like a glow stick. When you snap it, and the chemicals combine, and so it's. I think that's quite funny. Are you going to die because you have a good diet with a little bit of broccoli in it? No, of course you're not. This is not like a black and white thing, but I just say it's not a health food. If you enjoy it, great. But if you do get sick, please don't go through the 3 or 4 or 5 years trying to get confidence to drop those last few plants. Just do it. And then if you can reintroduce a few seasonal veg, like our ancestors did, seasonal fruit in time, even paleomedicina say do that, as long as you don't reintroduce dairy or grains. But if you do that in time, fantastic. But get healed and then do it.
Get healed first.
If you want to think about this as the ultimate elimination diet, it's very safe to live the rest of your life on beef, lamb, salt, and water. But if you just want to take it as an elimination diet, please do that. I've done
that's where I am now.
I've done 100 elimination diets, but I've eliminated the wrong thing. Oh, let's go back to juicing. Let's go back to just fruitarianism. Let's go back to fuck it. Beef, lamb, salt, and water, and then add stuff. That's the elimination diet.
Okay. Well, that's that. Listen, Phil, I really appreciate your time, buddy, for coming on, and it's certainly opened, I think, quite a lot of people's eyes, and hopefully it's made people think a bit, and at least your options are there, and whether you do or you don't, it's up to you. It's your life. You do what you want. But one thing I will take on board, nobody will tell me what to do. Nobody will ever again tell me what I should and shouldn't do. No religion, no philosophy, I'll do whatever I need to do. And if my body's healing, then fine, it's healing. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Absolutely. And just be open to things, because I always say is I've learned some of my most important lessons in life from people that I 90% disagreed with.
Yeah.
Those 10% were gold. It's when people say, oh, you think this, so I can never take anything seriously. You say, oh, you think the earth's flat, so I'm not gonna listen to you about anything.
No. That's program. That's program.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's NPC in my world. Just program.
Exactly.
Programs.
Look
not
at this
interested
lovely
in
one
that.
from Edwina here. Swapped our dogs to Raw about 15 years ago, absolutely phenomenal change in their health.
Yeah, no, I'm hearing it all over the place now. I'm hearing it everywhere. I don't know why, because I didn't ask for it, but funnily enough, on my phone, it like I don't talk about it to anybody, but now I'm hearing it more and more. So it seems to be a thing, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to listen to this person. And I've actually listened to about maybe 30 different people, who were vegan like me almost. Well, but and then they went on to this diet to heal themselves, and they healed themselves. They're all of them that I'm listening to have healed themselves, and they're not being pushy, they're not being like in your face, they're not trying to sell anything, they're just telling their true story. And I noticed a lot of them really are not shy, but they're really panicky from saying, because they were vegan, it's almost like it was hard for them to say it. So you can see the program is so freaking strong.
Yeah.
So well done. You broke through it.
Yes, and I am open to something better. I just haven't found anything yet.
Exactly.
I've been through every single diet and seen things, but I tell you what, if there is a cure for rheumatoid arthritis that involves putting a dog turd on your head and jumping on one leg, I'm
do
open.
it. Yeah.
I'm not closed-minded. I'm just, when vegans go, you need to research more, you need to be more closed-minded. No, I've been there and it didn't work, right? And it seems to be destroying a load of other people. So I've been there. I'm an expert. What if somebody once said, what do you call an expert on the vegan diet? A carnivore. Because they've been through it, they've been damaged, and they've learned that this is not what we're designed to eat. So
makes sense.
If you come at me with all these things that I've already tried for decades, I'm not going to suddenly go back to it. But
no, I've noticed. I can see, like you've actually got a smile on your face.
Yeah, if you come to me with something new, I'm all ears.
Exactly.
If I haven't heard anything before.
That's exactly what I was trying to say, and you articulated it so well that I'm trying to tell people about. You can feel the difference between a chancer, a charlatan, somebody who was just like, yeah, what's he up to, and somebody like, fucking do what you want, pal. This worked for me, and I don't give a fuck what you think. It's up to you. I like that, Phil. I like that.
Yeah,
that means a lot to me, because all you're doing is speaking your truth, and you're actually you feel like the confidence oozes out in you, and the reason why is because you've healed yourself.
I've been at it a long time, and confidence is the most important thing that you need, because this immediately sounds so crazy. I mean, see, somebody else has popped up here even now saying it's all about blood type. If you could, I hope this is going out and you could rewind it. We've already dealt with the blood type thing. It's an absolute myth and an absolute con when it comes to diet anyway. But please just have a go, look into it more, follow some great channels like Anthony Chafee, Ken Berry, Sean Baker, all the real sort of big channels. Read the comments as well under all of these videos. Read the comments of people who've come from every other diet, particularly veganism and vegetarianism, how it's healed them. Incredible stories underneath. Dr. Berry, you saved my life. I love Ken. He's been on my channel. He's got the biggest carnivore channel now. I started mine even before him, but he's got millions on it now. But I'm shadow banned for speaking out against the jabs and all that crap.
Good for you, pal. That's why that's why I like you. That's what it is.
But his channel's huge. And you just read the healing stories underneath, and it gives me a real lump in my throat, because Ken Berry discovered this. Ken Berry wrote a book called The Lies My Doctor Told Me. And it became a proper bestseller. He did really well with it. And suspiciously, his house and his practice burned down within a couple of months. Yeah. And they were after him. And I talked to him about that on my podcast with him. But go see Ken Berry's channel. You see the healing on there. I love it. I remember the first time I heard it, I was listening to a podcast with him, and I was walking to the school to pick up my son. And I heard him say that what I'm doing now with the whole carnivore thing and all of these massive, you put any ailment in and name Ken Berry, and you'll find out him going into the proper science of how to do it, how it reverses. And he says, I'm doing this to apologize for all the people that are hurt before I woke up to this dietary bullshit and all the medical nonsense.
Yeah, but you have to go through it, though.
Real lump in my throat, and I was
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
filling up because I heard he was so sincere, you know.
Yeah, yeah, sounds great. I'll go and check that out as well. What's his name again? His channel?
Ken Berry, Dr. Ken Berry, lovely guy.
I'll go and have a look as well. But yeah, all right, I'm knackered now. Not knackered, but I need to go to bed. I'm normally in bed for 9 o'clock.
Oh, it's much later there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 10:30, and my protocol says the best time to sleep is between 9 and 12. That's when you get the ultimate energy in sleep. Whether that's true or not, I do feel better for doing it.
Yeah.
All right, Phil. I'll get all the links from you after. So if you send me the links, and then I'll pop them here to everything that you do. I appreciate your coming on and giving your time and your true life story, and what you then continue to do as a healer. That's what you are. You're a healer, pal. And thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I've just really enjoyed, because you've set me off on some real good rants, and I love it, because usually I get on these echo chambers, you know, where I get on these carnivore podcasts and stuff, and everybody knows this stuff, but it's great to be talking to people who it's new information with. I love to be challenged. I love these wonderful objections to it.
Exactly.
Because, you know, it's great. It's great.
Exactly. When I talk about energy and I work with and people, I love it. Ask me out you want. Why? Because I've been through it. I understand it. I feel it, and I can talk about it just like you can. And that's why I can feel that. And I think whatever people's belief is tonight, they can at least say is true to his conviction, is true to what he's saying. And you can feel it, Phil. I can feel it. Anybody with half a consciousness can feel it. You know, quarter of a millimeter of a consciousness. You can feel you're genuine and you want to help, and you can just feel it. You can just feel it. And if you can't, there's something wrong. All right, pal. See you later. Take care.
Thanks, Mark. See you, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Thank you. And I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.